Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is your t-shirted historian coming at you live from the bunker underneath Cyber City 101. Well, not really, but it sure sounds cool, don't it? All right. I'm going to introduce our panel one at a time here because it's nice and orderly, and I like order. So with no particular order, we're going to start with my buddy, my friend, my co-writer sometimes, and well, actually he's not really a co-writer of mine yet, but I'm working on him, Mr. Grimm.
Hello.
All right. And next we have Mr. Gerry, without whom which we would not have a stream.
A P stream?
A P stream, yes, a P stream. And speaking of P streams, it's time to put on my buddy Esh.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me again. Last week was a lot of fun, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back, dude. All right, and always able to class up any stream, we have the lovely Kate.
Thanks. Hi.
Hi. And our special guest this week is the wonderful, the awesome, the very muscular, and most beautifully haired Geek Time TV, Keith.
I don't know. Culture Casino might have a quibble about the hair.
Well, okay. Culture does have really nice hair.
He does. Thanks for having me on, T-shirt. Appreciate it.
Oh, hey, man, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to have you. We have a really cool panel tonight. So, all right. Well, anybody have anything cool happen this week before we get started, or
No,
nothing?
A lot of stuff, but none of it cool.
A lot of stuff, and none of it cool. Okay.
Sounds
All
about
right.
right.
Then. I guess we'll take a look at our chat really quick and say hello to those who said hello to us. We have Mr. Phil Smith. Hey, Phil, how are you doing? And I know he's an Englishman himself, so I know he's hitting it late. So you Brits out there will appreciate that he's staying up on your behalf as well. We have Miss Squeaka Mouse. How are you?
Hi, Squeaka.
We have Rebecca Early, who may or may not be on the broadcast a little bit later tonight, depending on space.
Hi,
and
Rebecca.
And I still want to see how the shop is doing this week. All right. Well, that's who we got right now. So I guess we should jump into our stories for tonight, eh? Or for this week, I should say. A lot of stuff coming out of Robert E. Howard land, which, if you're not familiar with who Robert E. Howard is, he is the creator of Conan the Barbarian. He's also the creator of Red Sonja, Sailor Mike Costigan, Solomon Kane, Cole the Conqueror, just all kinds of good stuff. Well, apparently, they are working on... Netflix is working on, of course, getting the Conan show for their broadcasting thing. And my mouth is not working tonight. But they're also in talks to get Solomon Kane on Netflix. So,
What do you got? Those Hertz Rent-A-Lips tonight? Are you having trouble because of that?
I think that's it. Either that or maybe it's like the 5 hours of sleep I got. It could be. I don't know, man.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, see what they do. Because, Netflix can make good stuff as well as make some of the woke crap stuff. So we just got to wait and see what happens. I like the last film that had Purfoy in it.
Oh, God, that was a good film.
Yeah, it was.
With his actual accent.
Yes, with his actual accent. He didn't have to fake anything.
Do we know who's producing this? Or EP at least? No.
I don't.
That'll dictate if it's woke or not. Clearly, I mean,
oh God, I hope it. I don't hope it's not woke. I don't know if they have as tight controls over Solomon Kane as they do Conan, for example, because in the Conan guy who controls the rights to that, he's told Marvel, he said, you know what, you can't fuck with this character. You can't make him woke. He has to act a certain way. He has to be a certain way. You can't just change him up the way you want to, because this is our Robert E. Howard's original creation.
right.
Well, I'm going to tell you the bad news is that the executive producer behind it is the same guy who did that piece of shit Conan the Barbarian film.
Oh, that German guy.
One from a couple of years ago. Oh boy.
Yep.
Oh,
And it's Frederick Malmberg or whatever the fuck his name is. I mean, that was such a bad film. It was a movie that felt like a bunch of 16-year-olds wanted to write a story about what they think grown men talk like.
How do grown men talk, Gary?
What's that?
How do grown men talk?
Well, I know how I talk.
They had a pretty good cast. It should have worked, but
It was a great cast. Exactly. And it was all in the fucking writing where they had Conan walking around talking like a 16-year-old girl on prom night. He wouldn't shut the fuck up. It's like, by Crom, that guy, Conan is a guy as a man of action and a few words. When he talks, pay attention. But he's not going to talk a lot. It's mostly he's going to fucking kill or kick ass. But they had him just running around talking all the time, like, It felt like Hercules, the TV series. It was that bad.
Wow.
They'd have to really change Solomon Kane to make him woke. It's hard to wokeify a straight up Puritan who destroys evil. The only thing I can see that they might have an issue with is all the stuff in Africa and the black staff and that.
Yeah.
They could just avoid that.
My hope is that he hires real writers that are good. And so we can avoid having any of those problems. And I agree with you. It's Solomon Kane is a very specific kind of character. I'm not going to call him two-dimensional, but he's really close. A very specific kind of person, like very puritanical.
Well, he's a Puritan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's straight up. He's puritanical because he's a Puritan.
Yeah.
Well, if they take a page from Invincible or even The Boys with the violence and stuff, I think it'll hold up. I mean, they're gonna put some of the intersectional stuff in there. They're going to put it in there somewhere because there's nothing that's completely 100% free of that. Even Invincible has some of that stuff in there. So, just expect it and just hope it's minimal and,
Yeah, I believe if I recall correctly, one of Solomon Kane's big sidekicks actually was an African shaman type or a West Indian of some sort, and that that could be problematic. Solomon Kane is not really my area of expertise. I've tried to read it in the past, and I just didn't enjoy it. Conan is really more my thing, and Kull the Conqueror. I pretty much, that's what I cut my teeth on as far as fantasy goes. So.
Well, the one thing I do know is that, because I told you last week that Marvel has one comic that is guaranteed to never be woke.
That's Conan.
And it's Conan the Barbarian series that they do because the Robert E. Howard estate. I'm not sure how it is, but they control it. And Marvel licenses the right, but the Howard people say you can't do this, that, or the other thing. You have to be true to it. And if we're lucky, maybe that's what we're going to see here. I don't know. I mean, they fucked up the Conan movie really badly.
Oh, they had that German guy, Marcus Nispel, direct it, and he...
Not that De Laurentiis did any better with Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah, we don't... Well, okay, Destroyer was okay in a cheesy sword and sandal sort of way, but yeah, pretty much Conan the Barbarian, the original one by John Milius, that is the archetypical Conan movie that you want to see.
It is. I wouldn't call it exactly the blueprint, but damn close to the blueprint you want to stay close to.
Yeah. Now, I do agree with Andre from Midnight's Edge that the biggest problem with that movie is the whole Conan as a slave issue. Because, if you've read the books, Conan was a, kind of a wild barbarian from the Cimmerian wilderness. And, he would never be a slave.
They changed a lot of things for the film. Yeah. But I found most of them acceptable as, I'm old school Conan fan. So,
yeah. And
reading those books.
And he had a great, Schwarzenegger had a great cast to act with. He really didn't have a whole lot of dialogue and beautiful
is what
set
it needs
pieces,
to be with Conan. Don't have him talk a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. Oh, Phil, my go-to guy. Okay, yes, here we go. No way a character like Kane's blood brother Nalonga could be televised now. Yes, as cunning and wildly as he'd be, all his dialogue's pigeon. Wouldn't want to touch that. Yeah, you are correct, Phil.
Even though
Phil's
that's accurate.
Even though that's accurate. Phil's a writer, and he's also a big 2000 AD fan, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I grew up reading those comics, yeah.
Good guy. Really good guy. Good friend of mine.
And for all you Brits, I also grew up reading Dan Dare.
That's a little before my time.
And that's way before my time.
Am I that much older than you? Jeez.
I don't think so. I've been reading 2000 AD since I was 3 years old, though. So
okay, let's cut Gerry in half and count the rings, everyone.
Ash, you're pretty quiet about this. Is this? Did you know anything about this? Have you read anything about these characters or anything?
No, I don't really know much about Solomon Kane or Conan or Red Sonja. The only things I do know about Conan is the bits I've played of the game Conan Exiles and the MMO Age of Conan Unchained. So I know bits from those, but I don't know too much about it. I mean, there was that stuff recently about the Red Sonja film, but I believe we're going to talk about that later.
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because, as I said, we have a lot of Howard in the news, and yeah, Red Sonja is kind of my next little hot button here. Let me go ahead and just bring that right up. So, okay, yeah, this is Hollywood's choice to play Red Sonja.
Oops.
T-shirt likes her. I think she's ugly. I don't like her.
I think most people in Hollywood are basic bitches.
Okay. Yeah. This is Hannah John Kamen, who you might recognize from the show Killjoys, and she was also in Ant-Man and Wasp. Yeah.
Brave New World.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was actually good in Ant-Man and Wasp.
Okay, well, I got to preface this by saying, I find her really beautiful. Obviously, I love her when she uses her actual accent, and I don't have any problem with her, in and of herself, as far as her acting chops, her athletic ability, any of that stuff. But we're asking her to play a brightly, fiery-haired white woman or woman of white complexion with blue eyes, and it's
that whole anti-ginger thing in Hollywood.
Yeah, and a fairly generous bust, shall we say?
But I just have a question. So
yes.
This is coming from the people who say that you're supposed to cast the person who identifies exactly with the character, right? So
yeah,
an Asian character, it's got to be an Asian person.
Except when they're white.
It's got to be a gay person.
Except if they're white.
So what's up
or
with
ginger?
Yeah. Anti-ginger thing for sure. It's got to be. I mean, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, basically Hollywood has become Cartman.
Yes.
I'm gonna kind of dissent. I think she could work. Because if you have seen her in Killjoys, she's got the fighting chops, and she can do that kind of smoldering intensity thing.
Yeah, I've seen her act. I'm not going to argue with you, Grim, and I don't really think you're dissenting. I think you're just speaking the truth. She's a good actor.
Yeah,
and she is quite physical. I've not watched Killjoys, but I've seen her in other stuff, and she was good with the physical work. Not my show. I prefer Expanse, Yeah.
And she can do cleavage. She wore a lot of very low cut dresses in
That's easy
in Brave New World.
On.
Yeah.
She's just
I'm wearing one right now. I got one.
But everybody that knows me knows that my kryptonite is gingers, and I really hate it when they do that, where they recast somebody that was a ginger to be something else, and I'm like, stop.
But here's the thing, Gerry, you've been lied to. The majority of gingers in Hollywood have always been fake. They will always be fake because we're only 2% of the world. Sorry, you've been lied to. Like push-up bras. Lies.
Well, thanks. Lies. False
Welcome.
advertising.
Well, obviously, the whatever estate controls Red Sonja, I don't think has as much control over her character. Currently, she's in Dynamite Comics, and it's they're not bad, but
well, first of all, it's Dynamite Comics.
I don't have a problem with Dynamite Comics. I really don't.
I don't think they're very good.
Okay.
What about Karen Gillan if she bulked up a bit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And she's a ginger. So.
And she's a 2%er. Kate.
Is she real? Because probably not.
Yes.
I don't know.
Doubt it. I still doubt it.
It's like the girl from no, because we've got childhood
Hollywood.
Childhood photos.
She's
this way, I could be ginger and you could never know it.
Created in the basement of the BBC Radiophonics workshop.
Anyway, as I was saying, okay. Well, the original character of Red Sonja was written by Robert E. Howard in his short story Shadow of the Vulture, and a lot of her actual character traits and things were influenced by his other character, Dark Agnes de Chastillon, which was a really neat character also, but not very well known. One of the things, though, that's kind of touchy in today's society, though, is that the original Red Sonja's backstory is that she was a Rapunzel victim. Because, we don't want to say that word. And was granted her abilities at sword fighting and everything else by the Red Goddess Scathach, or however you say it. I don't know how. I don't speak Welsh or whatever.
I think it's Gaelic.
Is it Gaelic? Oh, I'm sorry. You know how to pronounce it, Grim?
No.
Okay.
And I'm smart enough not to try.
Okay. But anyway, her big thing is she's able to maintain her fighting powers and prowess as if she ensures that she never lies with a man unless he has defeated her in fair combat. Right? That's the original story.
Well, I have a question though regarding this Rapunzel victim thing. Why is that? Why is that a negative thing? That's a woman holding another woman prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's over the temple that she's at is overrun by a tribe, and she's raped, and that's when so they see that as problematic. Gail Simone rewrote the background when they relaunched the comic series, I think.
Yeah, in Gail Simone's version, the family is killed, but she survives, and she lures all the murderers into the woods, and she kills them all. She's not Rapunzeled. She's not seriously injured or anything. No Red Goddess. Instead, all of her fighting ability comes from her experience as a gladiator, which I'm kind of like, how? But
yeah, you'd have to be good enough to survive. I dropped a link to a picture of her in Killjoys to show that she can sort of project what I think she'd need to as Red Sonja.
Okay, let me
just in the chat.
Oh yeah, and no, I mean
that's basic. Oh man, y'all are so boring.
I feel bad suddenly.
Why? You wanted me on, and you had this topic. You think I'm not going to be a bitch?
This is true. I asked you on this. I figured you would have something to say about this. So you're right. I'm getting what I asked for, and I'm not ashamed.
I'm enjoying it, Kate. Keep going.
And honestly, I don't know what the deal is with Hollywood and redheads.
It's bizarre.
I can tell you why.
What is it?
What is it? Why I think it is? Besides being mostly faked, basic. Besides being mostly faked in Hollywood, because even Lucille Ball was, and she made it okay to be fake. I'm not saying she's not iconic and important to overall humanity, but that's the reality. But then you get down to the brass tacks of 2% of the entire human population. For these collectivist nut jobs running Hollywood that have for 50 years, that is too close to individualism. It is not okay. And if you want to get really specific, someone like myself, who there's like 5 characters in any fictional anything with red hair and a shade of brown eyes, mine in particular, or a rare kind of brown because they're yellow, that is less than 1% of the human population. I mean, we're getting down to talking about an actual individual. They don't want that. That is completely antithetical to their whole spiel these days and what they have been pushing very aggressively for over 30 years.
I don't honestly get it.
How do you not get it? Where am I not being clear?
No, not you.
Okay.
Not you. I'm talking about Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's lots of pretty redheads out there.
There isn't. There isn't. The thing is, most redheads are nerds. They go into sciences and engineering and things like that. There are not a lot that are artists. They're just not. Because we're picked on. We are maliciously picked on. I mean, it's funny from my experience. I'm only 31. In my experience, I went from being maliciously picked on as a kid, at like the kinds of things that were said to me if it was directed at a protected minority, because 2% isn't a big enough number to protect, and so I wasn't protected as a rare human being. So maliciously picked on. These kinds of things said to anyone else, they would have been expelled. I guarantee it. And then as a young adult now, I have these people with golden brown hair, fake hair from a box or a bottle, coming up to me. This has happened in real life. Real life.
Sorry, I'm putting out.
Come up to me and said, "Oh my God, we look the same." And no, we don't.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, that's happened to me. I'm serious. Many times. It is sick. It's like lathering yourself in fake tanner, going up to a brown person or black person or whatever that is more pigmented than you naturally. "Oh my God, we look the same." No.
Well, speaking for myself, I've always liked redheads the best. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just true. And I really don't get where the systemic dislike of redheads comes from in Hollywood.
Okay. Oh, that person. Yeah, dude. Oh, I get that. She's grown out of having red hair. So did Bonnie. What's her last name? Who played Ginny? She grew out of having red hair. One of my cousins has grown out of having red hair. I have other cousins who grew out of being blonde. So no, she's no longer a redhead. Sorry to burst bubble. I'm red again.
I've always heard a lot of redheads being referred to as strawberry blondes, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck is the difference?
Well, he is pretty close to being strawberry blonde. Yes, sir. You almost, I bet, were at some point in your life a strawberry blonde.
So gingers are a minority, but they're a white minority.
No.
And they don't have enough critical mass to.
No. That is a misconstruct. That is very misconstrued. You can have darker skin, like tan, even brown, and have red hair. It has nothing to do, because with that logic, I should only have blue eyes or green, maybe. But I have yellow eyes. They are brown. They're the same as my dad, who has black hair. It's not a pigmentation thing. It is just a recessive gene. I went to high school with a dude who's a black guy with blue eyes. His parents are black. His grandparents, as far as I know, black. But he has blue eyes. It's just genetics. It can happen to anyone. You never know. We're all so mixed now that almost anyone could have a redheaded kid.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, here's where the historian stuff comes in. Genghis Khan and his infamous rampage across all of Asia and Europe produced such a wide lineage of children who, bear some kind of a genetic trace to him, you will actually see from time to time there will be Asians with red hair.
Yep.
So,
well, very rarely. Often, if one of their parents is, it has both parents have to have the recessive gene for it to really happen. At least, like in the context of my brother and I would wager that if you grow out of a hair color, you have a unique gene unto yourself, which that's cool. You do you. But it's that's true. I've seen them. I've seen pictures of that. So that makes a lot of sense why he would have a recessive gene hidden in there, and like Mongolians.
Yes, exactly, Wizard Jim. Yeah. I've heard of this. Yeah. Oh, and Brightest Day sent me something for to share. Hang on, let me post it up real quick. It's funny, actually. My apologies.
That point about like everyone having red hair is very true, because my nan on my mom's side, she in the latter years of her life, she developed red hair.
Oh, God. Don't make me laugh over Ash. That's so rude. So bad.
Oh my God.
See, now if you want a brown character with red hair, then just go make a new one. You don't need to change people.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or have them play Ed in a not shitty Cowboy Bebop, because she is a brown girl with brown eyes and red hair. It happens.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, you're right, Hyboria is a fictional land based on Earth at a primordial past. So, feasibly, Red Sonja could have any skin color and everything, but I believe that Howard actually did write her as a white skin character, just like Belit, Conan's the love of his life, was also extremely pale skinned. But that's another story for another time. Anyway, What? Anyway, all right. Well, let's see. Any closing thoughts on this? Anybody got anything to say on it? Or
at least they gave her boob armor.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that they're going to give her boob armor.
We don't know they're going to give her boob.
Everyone wasn't naked in the bar scene film, so I wouldn't hold out hope.
Yeah.
Damn,
dude.
That scene, like intermittent, like they're topless but have the bottom on. That's gonna happen. It's a scene, not a clip or screenshot.
I would really seriously doubt they're gonna put her in the chainmail bikini. I really do.
Oh no, yeah, they'll probably make it more of a Wonder Woman thing. If anything, it'll be this solid one piece.
One of those redesigns from when they redesigned Vampirella and that as well, which was okay, but not as a Vampirella.
Yeah. Oh god.
If you remember those.
She was like one of the raciest characters in comic books back then.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I'm not so sure. But she does cross over with Red Sonja too. I meant to pick that comic up and I never did. Anyway, it is what it is. I mean, all we can do is really wait and see and hope. But yeah, I wouldn't hold out a lot. I mean, I just hope the film is good. Okay, it's like that's all I can really hope for at this point. Just make it fun, make it a good show. Try to tell an actual story. Don't inject politics into it. That's all.
Too late.
It's like we have to hope that the quotient of that is somewhere like lower than 15%. We'll accept 20, but no greater than 25.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be there.
Gerry, what is this picture? Is this you as a youngster?
No, that's my middle child. He's a ginger.
Oh, it's hard to tell from that picture.
That's
Yeah,
Sean, his name is Sean Patrick.
McGillicuddy.
And we're an Irish family, so like we have a lot of redheads, and my son got a lot of it.
Every time you use a European accent, I think Grim dies inside a little.
I don't, I hear people all the time. It's like like when English people do American accents, they're nasally. I don't fucking care. It's no big deal. People have issues with it. It's like, I don't care.
I don't know. Actually, every time I hear English people doing
they're
American
fucking
accents,
nasally. Australians do it too. They talk through their noses.
No, I was actually going to say they always seem to adopt Southern accents, so they
can tell it that because of Southern accent.
We usually end up doing Southern.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, there is. It's a historical.
The Southern
reason.
accent is more similar to Elizabethan English.
Exactly.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
Who do you think populated the South that gave them that fucking accent?
Man,
Right,
I
and
agree.
to that point,
I did not
also,
know that.
Philippe of Orleans, which is New Orleans' original inspiration name, Louis XIV, 15th, I never remember, Louis the Great, the asshole one. His brother was like Genghis Khan and also had lots and lots of kids.
So next time you see any Shakespeare, you've got to imagine it in a Southern accent.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna have to do that.
So less hie thee to a nunnery and more kiss Margaret's.
Oh.
It's a bit more of a draw, and it depends on how far south you go.
I'll be honest. I'm fortunate that I even though I'm Texan, I've always been Texan. I've always been born, bred Texas. Always lived in Texas, never anywhere else. But except for the short time I was in Kansas, we don't count that though. But I
I'm
mean,
given
it's like
to understand that there's only two kinds from Texas.
I have horns, I guess.
Okay.
I've heard that joke. But yeah,
You just sound Merkin.
yeah, I just sound Merc, and
Do you live in a metro or do you live in a rural area?
No, I live in a kind of an out of the way place. The thing is, I don't slip into Texan unless I'm either very tired or I'm very irritated or I'm just feeling very friendly. Like, how y'all doing?
I'd say y'all, but I grew up with my childhood friends lived in Texas until they were like 7 and 8. So
my understanding is that most of the people over there in Britain and everything, they think that speaking in Southern accents sounds more sexy and maybe more kind and gentle, and that's why they like it so much.
Well, you said tired a minute ago, and that's when my accent comes out because I grew up in the South, but I'm accent neutral when I'm speaking normally, and but when I get really tired, I say tired, and tired. I say I'm so tired right now.
I had a coach that actually
y'all
used to
comes
say,
out all the time. And
y'all.
I was in the Army, and I had to help my brother-in-law Jose set up for a veterans event, and he was what do you call it? The food, handling the food,
catering.
Thank you. And so my brother Steven and I helped him, and I was exhausted. I've been doing work all day for the Army, and then I'm doing this, and I walked over to a table with this master sergeant and his wife, and I said, "Y'all need anything else?" She goes, "Oh, what a quaint accent." First of all, there's not one fucking thing quaint about me. And she said, "Oh, what a quaint accent. Where are you from?" "Virginia, ma'am." She's like, "Oh, say something else." I said, "Do you fucking want something else?" And the master sergeant husband just started fucking laughing. And she's like, "Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you."
That's my pearls.
I've been to Dallas. That was a very surreal experience.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because it was completely empty. You know the opening scene from 28 Days Later when he comes out of the hospital and there's like nobody. It was just empty. There was absolutely nobody anywhere apart from a handful of homeless people and a gaggle of tourists doing the JFK thing.
It must have been Sunday. Were you there on a Sunday?
It was a Saturday.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that also makes sense. Okay, because on Saturdays everybody in Dallas tends to flee the city because during the week it's fucking jam packed with cars, man.
It was just weird though. It was eerie.
Hollywood Boulevard.
Any idea what was going on?
Well, I was told apparently everyone just decamps to Fort Worth every weekend. So
that's right. Yeah, Fort Worth, Weatherford, all those surrounding areas. you got to remember, this is like the only place you can live where we don't measure time by, mileage and all that stuff. We measure it just by how long it takes to get there. Like if I want to go to Dallas, I'll day trip 3 hours. You know,
here too. Yeah.
In Virginia, it's like in Missouri too. They do it here. It's like, well, you drive about 20 minutes down, and then you'll see like a big old tree.
Yeah.
You turn left there at that tree.
I'm familiar with those kind of instructions, but I mean, it's like if I drive 3 hours and I'm over in Britain, I'm gonna fall off into the ocean. So
it's like the complete opposite. I live in Connecticut, which is one of the original colonies. We're very small, right? Small state. You get a lot of the other 90 minutes, and people go, "What? Wait, 30-minute drive? That's too far. I'm not going." Swear to God, I used to run a user group, and if I had meetings in the Hartford area, nobody from New Haven would come up, and vice versa. They'd be like, "Nah, it's too far."
Are you shitting me?
No.
Oh my God.
Fairfield County, I'm not going there. That's like going to another country.
It would die here.
Brightest days from Connecticut in the chat. He'll tell you the same thing.
It's the same here.
I once described Connecticut as Kool-Aid without the sugar.
There's a saying like 100 years is a long time in America, and 100 miles is a long way in Britain.
Yeah, not true. Quite true. All right, let's see. Moving right along. Unless anybody else got anything else to say about this, I think we're pretty well covered it. What?
I just wanted to add to the Red Sonja stuff. Comparing the actress that they've chosen to actual Red Sonja, the actress is like, I'd say, thick with 2 C's, but Red Sonja is thick with 3 C's. So I think the actress needs to bulk up a bit to be worthy of being Red Sonja.
I wouldn't describe that actress as thick at all. Like, she looks like she's maybe...
I don't know. If you look at the image that we put up earlier, I think she's okay. Thick with 1 C then.
Yeah, and Red Sonja is thick with double D's.
She's ripped. Like, the only depiction I've ever seen of her where she's not cut like a dude, and I don't mean like as in masculine, but how men want to be ripped and cannot physically have boobs if you're a woman and ripped like that. Where a depiction where she's not cut is Louis Royo. He does a much more softer but athletic, lean, and would naturally still have boobs version of her. Whereas, like, the only person I know of, and she's actually a Miss Olympian, a 2-time winner, Erin Stern. I don't remember her last name, but she's an athlete. She's a real athlete, and like probably not tall enough, but who cares? I mean, she's got just throw a wig on her. She's already got fake boobs. You're done.
And Fat Steven, I'll ask you to be respectful to this panel, you fat bastard. Go eat a carrot. No, seriously, Ash, what is this deal with you and Fat Steven? It's like he's up your ass today.
I think he's just absolutely infatuated with me, so he feels he has to comment about me every chance he gets.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, I think we can all agree that the actress needs to bulk up in one way, shape, or form. And like, I usually don't like gender bending of original characters or race swapping original characters, but I don't have too much of an issue as long as they stay true to the lore and the backstory of the original character. That being said, I've heard a lot of not so good things about the writers and the directors of this film. So
that's not good.
Whatever direction I think they'll take, I'm not sure it may be a good one when it comes to the history of the character. And again, they're definitely not going to give her like the armored bikini and outfit she's got in the comics. Like this day and age, they're definitely not going to do that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of choking on Fat Steven's last comment at me. Oh, yeah. I'm worried about that too, Ash. I think the best we can hope for is that, we don't cringe so hard that, our upper cheekbones don't pop out of the out of our face and clatter across the floor with how bad we're wincing and cringing from how bad this show is going to be. But nevertheless, I'll watch it because it's fucking Howard, goddammit. And anything that's Robert E. Howard, I'm going to watch it because I'm a goddamn Howard fan. And you know what? That's just the way I fucking roll.
All right.
Damn it.
Until we see it, we can't, got to hold out hope. That's all we can say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Please, God, don't let it suck too much.
That's it. Too much.
Literally. It's just like you walk into the theater, you get your popcorn, get your drink, and then you begin the mantra, please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck.
Like
I don't know, maybe just taking a step back. I mean, you look at like the movies right now that are out, and they're out during a pandemic, and there's limited attendance, and Godzilla versus Kong, and Mortal Kombat, and the Demon Slayer, they're all making big money, and they're just fun escapist movies, right? So maybe, just maybe, they'll take a look at that and go, on top of the Oscars completely tanking, which was all this,
You think they'd learn from that?
Old crap, right?
I think they'd learn.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
Maybe they won't.
Hollywood never learns.
No, but what they do is chase trends and they copy. It's a copycat thing, right? So if they're looking at what's going on in the middle of a pandemic with these like Godzilla versus Kong, the story was one of the worst. It was horrid, but I had fun and I loved it.
It was fun.
They are one of those organizations. The entire industry is incapable of learning because when something fails, they always focus on the one thing that had nothing to do with the failure.
True.
Yep, that's true.
Oh, they had droids in that movie. We should never make another droids movie.
Well, when it fails,
no robots.
It's the fans. They did it.
These days, it's a case of, well, the movie didn't make that much money. It's because we didn't have enough representation. People didn't feel like going to go see it because they couldn't see themselves in the film. We need to get more people who are like the people watching our films. Damn it. That's the only way we can get people to see our films.
Well, if they can make Tom Cruise look like he isn't a balding Oompa Loompa, I'm sure they can make her look like.
No, also, if they can try and get Nicolas Cage to not look like Nicolas Cage with peel and stick hair.
Peel and stick hair, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I loved him in Willy's Wonderland.
Goddamn right.
Color Out of Space was good.
Color Out of Space was good. And Tommy Chong was actually surprisingly good in that, too.
I enjoyed the film, even though still, the effects were, but the story was really good. I enjoyed the cast.
That's the thing with Lovecraft. Lovecraft is kind of hard to film anyway because it's like
unimaginable horror. So how do you describe unimaginable horror?
Exactly.
I know. Apprehension engine.
What's that?
Apprehension engine.
Apprehension engine.
Look it up.
Okay.
It's really cool.
I will.
It's the sequel to Thomas the Tank Engine, but it's really
disturbing. No, that's really cool.
Oh god, that reminds me. We were on Jed's channel the other day, and Pablo showed one of those figures from those strange knockoff figures from Ecuador, and one of them was a Thomas the Tank Engine multi robot, like Voltize or whatever. I'm totally speaking.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, it's like five other tank engines combined to form like Super Thomas. And, yes, basically like a Voltron.
Oh, that's awesome.
You mean like a Megazord? But Thomas the Tank Engine, where all the different like the fake ass and like what do you call it? Off-brand Thomas the Tank Engines just combined to make ultra off-brand Thomas the Tank Engine.
That would be great. I had to sit through many, many episodes of Thomas when my daughter was small.
Ditto.
It was maddening. And I had to buy all those stupid little toys.
I enjoyed the shiny time with my older child when he was little. But Thomas was really hard to get through.
It was hard, yeah. Hours.
Oh, that was my favorite show.
And I'm talking about Shining Time back when Ringo Starr was on it.
Oh, God. All right. Well, here is our next topic of conversation. This is Demon Slayer.
Oh,
I haven't seen it yet.
I just finished
I've not seen
watching it on Netflix. It's
Okay.
so good. I have a few things.
I'm glad you finally saw it so you could comment on it more. But the big news is that, last week we reported to you that Mortal Kombat just barely edged out Demon Slayer in the box office. Well, apparently this week Demon Slayer has defeated Mortal Kombat in its second week.
Oh, hey.
And the notable thing is, Demon Slayer has grossed $6.421 million at the box office, but it was only shown in 1,905 theaters. Mortal Kombat grossed $6,235 million, but it was shown in 3,114.
Oh, wow.
theaters. So you're looking at about a difference of about like $13,000 difference per theater. Which, I mean, for an anime, that's fucking stunning, man.
Yeah, that is.
I think we've seen that like general trend where like anime now is starting to become slowly bigger than like regular like live action films and just animated stuff in general, even with manga and anime shows being more prominent in the West. More people are just gravitating towards the drawn and the animated because you can do whatever you want. You can draw characters how you want. You can basically, if you want someone quintuple flipping onto a trampoline off a dinosaur's back, you could do that. It would be difficult to do a live action version of that, and especially the kind of stuff they do in Demon Slayer. It'd be extremely difficult to do a live action version of that. So I'm not surprised in the slightest.
I only hope that this kind of, like when I was in high school, like mid-aught, anime was the most popular thing. Like the I don't know if it was like the entire company or just this part of the US, but the Hot Topic here sold the most anime merchandise in its district or the whole company, whatever it was, like the most. And it's interesting to kind of see that come back around and be really popular again, but for an entirely different reason, not just because it's like word of mouth in the context, in a traditional context. It's more of a, I'm sick of this, so I'm going out of my way to try something new that I really wouldn't have before because XYZ friends said so and have for 20 years.
Yeah, and I think it's feeding off the manga, which is crushing American comic books.
Oh, absolutely. They go hand in hand. Absolutely go hand in hand. For instance, Fooly Cooly, it was originally just an anime. And I have the manga also. But then it was made into a manga. But it's interesting, and I kind of hope that the spirit of Bleach's rock operas gets reimagined into something else because theatrical plays like that here could be so much fun.
Oh, sorry.
Hi.
What happened? What happened?
Nothing. No one has anything else to say. What are you talking
Nobody
about?
had anything else to say. No, I think that's great. I mean, honestly, one of the things I think is pretty cool is the fact that because the Japanese anime is so strong right now, and the manga is so strong and beating down the Western comics pretty good, it's opening doors to other forms of animation being seen as actual real pieces of cinema and real shows. You know, like, I mean, we just had Invincible, and you know, that was animated, and you know, everybody's like, oh, they're raving. And if you recall, like a few years ago, we had like the Spawn animated show, and everybody was raving about that. But for some reason, that never really just hooked.
I would think, I mean, other than like South Park being a popular, mature animated show. Is that what you mean? I mean, it's animated. Early Adult Swim, animated.
Yeah.
Archer, I think, kind of made it seem like it jumped the shark because of how they did that series, and maybe that's why it fizzled out for a while. But yeah, I think you're right. This definitely could reinvigorate that. I think whatever animation studio and maybe some of the people in charge of Invincible, if they were to do the Dresden Files, which is a little less aggressive than that show, still young adult, but less aggressive, could do really well as an animated show. It'd run forever.
I think the real test for anime is if they can do something that is not like super duper high energy, super duper over the top. If you can actually get an audience to go watch a film that is, mostly like realistic characters dealing with realistic situations, walking, talking, headshots, and all that. Kind of like, you guys remember the old Bakshi film, American Pop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was not a lot of hyper, anime action. It was kind of, just a lot of just human drama.
Yep. I always thought that the Macross would be perfect for a general audience.
Well,
really good sci-fi story. It's a 3-act structure. It's perfect.
It is. And now that Carl Macek is gone, I guess there's a chance that somebody could pick up all the rights and do it some justice, because, the original Robotech show was 3 different anime kind of crammed together.
Yeah, because they're in the US, you needed 65 episodes for syndication, and Macross only ran 36. And that's what he wanted. He just wanted Macross. Mm-hmm. So he had to find 2 other shows and stitch them into this bigger lore so that he could sell it for syndication. So
it worked for most Speeder, but not the middle one.
I agree.
Yeah, that was the middle one was kind of boring and flat,
dull, and apparently the Japanese version is almost as boring and dull too. So, no, you're right. The 2 bookends were great.
Gerry, you saw that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
No comments on it?
No, I'm not really as into it.
Oh. And yeah, Brightest Day. Yeah, I miss having 13 DVD box sets of Robotech. Yeah, no kidding.
I know. Those are three DVDs in each box, right?
Yeah, and then they released the Macross Perfect editions, and then you had like the Japanese version and the English version, and the Japanese versions were just so awesome.
Yeah, I have the Japanese ones.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, Yamato.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Then Captain Harlock is getting a comic book now. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to see.
Oh my God! Yeah. Are you covering the Captain America thing?
I am. We're that's coming up. That is coming up, sir. Don't worry. We're getting there. All right. Well, do we have anything else to say about the whole Demon Slayer Mortal Kombat thing? I mean, I don't know. Does it say more about the anime, or does it say more about Mortal Kombat? Like maybe people were just not that excited to see it or something, or maybe it wasn't as big of a hit as they thought.
I think it says people are interested in going to the movies again, because I bet a lot of people flip the coins like, which one are we going to see first? Because they're relatively similar in the context of being action. So,
yeah, I agree with Kate completely, and I think it's more of the audience, and I think it's the appeal of escapist stuff. Again, just going to watch something that's check your brain at the door and go have fun.
You think it'd be the other way around, because Mortal Kombat fans are probably going to be older and therefore more vaccinated. So you'd think they'd be going to the...
That's true. But it's the kids that play all the video games now. So
that's true. Yeah.
Ash, do you have any input on this?
Well, as your resident kid, I have a couple of things to say.
Shut up, Wesley.
Right, well, first, when it comes to the Demon Slayer anime, I just want to get out the way that I found like it was a very good anime. I loved it, but I did get quite annoyed by all the constant self-motivation and the internal dialogues he had every single episode. It's like, I can do this. I will save my sister every single episode or every other episode, and it just got annoying after a while. But other than that, it was very good. But I'd say when it comes to the comparison of Demon Slayer and Mortal Kombat, yes, they're very high octane action, a lot of like adrenaline filled sequences and stuff like that, but I'd say that's where the comparison stopped. I've played some of the Mortal Kombat video games, and it's got like powers and stuff and things like that, and it's like about the fight tournaments and stuff like that. But when it comes to Demon Slayers, there's a whole other level to it in terms of like one race being the humans and one race being the demons. You've got the Demon Slayers, which bridge the gap between the two, and you got the anomaly demon, and then all that stuff and how they deal with that. Whereas Mortal Kombat is different people with loads of different powers fighting. And yes, there are like different people with like different abilities in Demon Slayer, but it's all ultimately the same common goal. So but again, it also comes back to live action versus animated, and also what kind of fan base is there pre-existing for Mortal Kombat versus Demon Slayer and anime IPs in general. So Mortal Kombat already has a pre-established fan base, but that's the IP of Mortal Kombat. Yes, there are 11 games now and some original films, but we've got an high action gory anime that's very similar to quite a few other animes that would appeal to a much broader range of audiences, because let's say if you want blood and gore and other stuff, you could take a look at my personal favorite anime, Tokyo Ghoul, or you could take a look at Attack on Titan and stuff like that. Other animes with lots of action, lots of blood, lots of drama, as well as other stuff. So it's interesting to make that comparison. The fact that the Demon Slayer movie was shown in less theaters and made more money just shows there's a higher demand for Demon Slayer as opposed to Mortal Kombat. So I think, and another thing is like there is also that shift of people are just sick of potentially just sick of live action stuff and want to just have a more unrealistic, like unbelievable showy experience to watch, rather than something live action that they can kind of relate to. Yes, there's incredible fighting, incredible powers and stuff like that, but it's live action, so it's somewhat believable. Whereas if you have someone summoning some fire powers out of their sword and crazy breathing techniques, and you've got demons running faster than the speed of light or something like that, it's much more enjoyable because it's incredibly unrealistic. So there is that comparison there too. Yeah,
and one of the anime I would really like to see get an updated treatment with, some love is Fist of the North Star.
Ooh,
because that's from way back in the 80s, and I would argue with anybody. I mean, I'll throw down and fight your ass. But anybody who likes Dragon Ball, or they like Kengan Asura, or they like Grappler Baki, or even Berserk, or anything else that is big, tough, blood and guts, fighting, killing, etc., you got to go back to Fist of the North Star, because that was the anime and the manga that really brought that genre to life. You had the great big muscular guys, the secret techniques, the almost magical forms of martial arts, the really bigger than life characters, the connections between film and anime, and just a really good story and a really long set of books and movies and shows. and it's like people have forgotten about it mostly. You know,
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Oh,
The
yeah,
live
see.
action film was trash, though.
Which one?
There was a live action film of Fist of the North Star, and it was absolute trash.
It is. It was with Gary Daniels. I love that film because I have it over here on my shelf. And I mean, yes, it was trash, but it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch.
You just gotta talk to the hand, man.
Grim just totally dissed me. Grim totally dissed me. Oh.
I don't know. I'm that weird, like, mostly normie liking anime with anime and manga. Like, I read Hellsing, I watched Hellsing. Most anime I like. I haven't read the manga. Not that, and I'm extremely picky. So, like, everyone's like, "Oh, you need to watch Attack on Titan. It's like XYZ is like."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really being picky. I mean, people are attracted to specific kinds of anime. I like Vampire Hunter D.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of certain genres within anime, and some of them I don't give two shits about. Fist of the North Star. I did not like it.
What?
You know, I don't know if it's a genre thing within it though, because I don't. Because I wouldn't say Cowboy Bebop and Full Metal Alchemist have anything in common.
No.
So yeah, it's not exactly a genre thing. I think it's just kind of an aesthetic thing, and how they pace it and where they start in the story. And generally, with good storytelling, I like it when they jump right into the action or right into what we're doing, and then kind of backtrack and fill you in. Like, I guess that just might be how I like to digest stories, maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people like it here, but I was a big fan of the Big O. I thought that was a great show.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's a classic.
One Punch Man, I
know.
It's
fun.
It's like all my friends were like, "Oh, dude, you gotta go see One Punch Man. You're gonna love it."
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Fist of the North Star is kind of like a progenitor for One Punch Man too, I would argue.
That's what it felt like, and I was just, it's just not the kind of thing I'm into. Big O on the other side,
Dragon Ball.
You know, the Big O felt like it was almost like Batman. You know, but he became a robot. You know, a giant robot, and I'm like, yeah, Batman kicking ass. I mean, robot, Big O.
Yep.
It's true.
Someday. Well, I'm at least. There is good news for you and me, at least, Keith. Dark Horse Comics is re-releasing all the Fist of the North Star anime. I guess in the great big deluxe editions, like they do with the Berserk novels.
Oh, okay.
And the first one is dropping in June. I've already got it pre-ordered, so I will let you know. And hey,
that's cool.
Hey, Phil. Phil's chiming in. Big O is good. Batman TAS is an anime, only not quite.
Only sort of.
Well, Phil, I'm going to address this. It is this dude with dark hair, wears suits. He's rich, and he has a butler that knows that he's got a secret identity as a giant fucking robot. That's as much like Batman, and he fights crime. There you go. Yep. That's Batman.
And then there's a lot of like metaphorical stuff, and they get a little deep and philosophical once in a while, but kind of gloss over it because you just want to see the robot.
Yeah.
Oh, Brightest Day, you talked about Fist of the North Star a couple days ago, and you didn't invite me? God damn it.
I'll give you one thing about the live action film that was good.
Okay.
they reused the motorbikes from Space Hunter Adventures Beyond the Forbidden Zone.
Oh, good eye. Yes, they did.
Really?
I have that film too. Yes, they did.
I have that film as well.
Yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure.
It is.
In 3D.
Well, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it in the theater in 3D.
Oh, pre-recording happened. Okay. And that's honestly, that Fist of the North Star live action film is sort of a guilty pleasure because I figure it's honestly about as close as they're ever going to get to a decent live action. I mean, and I say decent with big, huge air quotes, but I'm
always kind of disappointed with the live action attempts that they
do.
Even when it comes from Japan, it's never quite as good as the animation.
No. Yeah.
I mean, my daughter got me watching that Death Note, and I started really getting into it. And I saw, there's a live action version. I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is awful. You
Well,
know,
the one that's getting traction is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and that was released back in the 80s. And once again, I'll scream at people, you should see Fist of the North Star first, because that's the one that inspired JoJo. And the guy who invented JoJo even admits. I mean, in the first season...
Another film I don't want to watch.
Fuck off, Gerry.
There's less homoeroticism in Fist of the North Star.
Yes, there is. JoJo's is...
JoJo's is basically Tom of Finland with punching.
Oh my God, hold on. My stepdaughter was watching this one night, and I watched it, and I'm like, what the fuck are you watching? It was JoJo. And I'm like, no, turn that off. You are not old enough to watch that. Turn that the fuck off.
I just want to take a moment to emphasize punching, not fisting. There is a difference.
Yes. All right. Oh wow! Everybody really likes this topic. Okay. We'll
Everyone likes anime.
Everybody likes anime. Anime is sometimes better. I can't stand the snobbery of live action. Yeah, I agree. That is true. Because it's like Brightest Day said earlier. It's like anime is so unapologetic. They don't give a shit. It's like they can draw whatever they want to, and it can be as beautiful or disgusting as they want it to be, and it just is. It's it's creative freedom. It's creative vision. Whereas. Yeah, live action, you have to deal with actors and their bullshit, directors and their bullshit, studios and their bullshit. And, everybody's just too worried about it making a buck.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, TD, your guilty pleasure is Howard the Duck. And I was going to let you know, I got to interview the one of the effects editors for that film, and that film cost him his career.
That was on my stream Tuesday night.
Yes, it was, and it was depressing to hear that.
It was awful.
Jay lost his career over that fucking movie, because it's also a guilty pleasure of mine. Dumb as fuck. I mean, seriously. I went to see it 3 times in the theater because I'm like, I can't tell. Do I love this or do I fucking hate it? I couldn't tell. And then finally later I was like, oh, I hate it.
Oh, I hate it.
But I still watch it because it's got some funny shit in it. Jeffrey Jones cracks me up.
He was good in that.
Yes, he was. He's good in everything. Well, except for in real life, where he's
too bad he's got a
pedophile
problem with.
Yeah.
He's one of those creepers.
Yeah, less said the better.
How many years was his sentence for?
I don't think he went to jail, did he?
Oh,
no, I don't.
Oh, he didn't.
No,
I don't think he did.
I think he gave up some names.
Yeah,
and got off with a stiff finger pointing. Don't do it again, Mr. Jones.
Phrasing.
Career's over. I mean,
yeah,
words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard.
Words are hard. Phrasing.
I found the whole thing, sad and tragic, but at the same time, it's like, he made his own bed. He decided to do something that was repugnant.
Yeah.
And but he every once in a while you'll see him pop up, like when they did the Deadwood thing. He was brought back.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
He was brought back for the Deadwood.
He had a run there from the mid to late 80s through the mid 90s. That was, I mean, he popped up in everything.
Yep.
Everything.
And the guy was just what?
He got 5 years probation, counseling, and the requirement to register as a sex offender.
That was right. Because he had photographic art of underage nude people.
It's just amazing to me that these guys, when their computer breaks down, they actually take it in to get fixed. When that's on there. What are you doing?
Yeah, people are dumb.
Yeah, people are dumb. These are the people in Hollywood that lecture us. They take their computers full of kiddie porn to the repair shop.
Yeah. I'm no one to lecture anybody either. I'm absolutely a fucking pervert in real life.
It's not the honest perverts you have to worry about.
It's the ones that act all pious, and then later you find out that they like fisting people.
For eating toes.
Oh, and Keith is like, after this week, people now can see that the studios don't care about fans. No, they don't. They fucking don't.
They don't give two shit. I mean, and this leads into the other subject that we're going to be talking about, which is on our thumbnail. I did the head popping up. He goes, "Don't forget about me,
fucker." Not you.
That guy. Yeah,
that guy. Fuck that guy. Phil Smith says, other reason for so many live action adaptations being awful. Grim, you read this, goddammit.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking you read it, Grim.
The other reason for so many live action adaptations being awful, I think, is that all the stylized art is more important than people might think. You can't just dispense with it and expect the same mood.
Yeah.
What he said.
This guy.
1,000%.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I mean, they did a live action JoJo, and I just can't bring myself to watch it. I can't imagine that being good live action.
Yeah,
I can
it's
only
like
imagine
Akira
that
being turned into a live action film is just a horrible idea.
Well, JoJo, I can only imagine the live action version being very popular with people who are into gay porn. I mean,
But mostly teenage girls.
Yeah.
Or my college roommate.
Yeah, and not that there's anything wrong with gays or gay porn or anything like that. I mean, you like what you like, so that's fine. It's just I don't want to watch it. So, Bert, let's see. What have we got next in our pipeline? Do we want to tackle that guy now, Gary? Since you brought him up,
and then we'll end with the bad news of the week.
What end?
I'm done. I'm done with this show. Jesus Christ.
So hateful.
No, this next section will probably be another half hour, and then we'll move into the last quarter of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always cognizant of the time.
Me too. Oh,
I mean, we fucking went 3 hours with Scotty. And I was just like, oh my God, I got to pee.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about buying one of them catheters with the condom. So you just slip it on and just
get the Stadium Buddy. Have you seen the Stadium Buddy?
No, I have not, but it sounds interesting.
It's like a cup, like a cup you'd wear for sports with a hose that goes to a bladder bag that you strap to your leg. So the idea is you can just stand there at the football game and pee all day long.
Yeah, because I hate leaving during a stream. I got to, turn off my camera and mic and walk away, and I miss all that was said. It pisses me off.
Okay.
Six is here. You're like...
my likes on Twitter say otherwise. Okay. That's not fair. Okay, I'm pansexual. everybody knows that. So.
Maybe they'll release Bill suits to tie in with the June film. So
there we go.
Be in those.
Ooh. Zax, yeah, you said it, man. Oh man, this guy. Yeah. Okay. So
Freddie Prinze Jr.
It's fucking Freddie
Prinze Jr. His dad is
rolling
in his grave.
He is, and
this son has been saying.
And I swear, when he first started his bullshit, I really wanted to hop up on Twitter and fire off. The only good part about you was your old man. But
did you see?
I didn't because
the best part of you ran down your dad's dick.
Yep. Freddie Cookie Jr.
But did you see that? Like, Az got in a fight with him on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't.
Who did?
Yes, he did.
And it's funny because everything Az said got like hundreds and hundreds of likes and retweets, but everything Freddie said got like 10. Well, it was awesome.
All right. So if you weren't aware of what actually happened, Freddie Prinze Jr. basically shit all over himself on Twitter because, as you know, he's in the Bad Batch and he's a voice actor for that, and he basically admitted to participating in online cancel culture against Gina Carano, and then decided to shit all over the fans in the process. And
but Az admitted to it after he complained about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he admitted to it
to stop, but then admitted to dogpiling on Gina Carano.
Exactly. Yeah. And then of course, when Az took him to task over it, he was like, shut him the fuck up pretty quick.
Yeah, he did. Bro.
Well, I know Gary's been frothing at the mouth waiting to take this on.
Oh no, I fucking hate him. I used to like him. He was one of those guys I really enjoyed. I liked him as Freddy in the Scooby-Doo movies. I fucking like those movies. I watched, even because I have a daughter, I watched those teen romance films that he was in, and God forgive me, but I enjoyed that stupid movie, the
Scooby-Doo?
Oh no, the sci-fi movie he did with Matthew Lillard and Flight Commander, or whatever it's called. It was based on a really bad video game with Mark Hamill, and I enjoyed the game too. So
Wing Commander,
that was it. Yeah, and I'm like, why are you going to be such a fucking tool? Keep that shit to yourself. Everybody has the opportunity to be a tool. You don't fucking show it in public. Keep it to your fucking self. We all have bad fucking attitudes and ideas about things. Just keep that shit to yourself.
I think he's doing it for work. He's like, look at me. I'm virtuous, and I'm with you guys there in Hollywood. So give me more work, because all I do is guest spot on the Bad Batch. You know.
He probably hasn't. Well, no, maybe he's just doing voice acting. But I totally forgot about this guy. I love the Scooby-Doo movie.
Well, he quit Hollywood for a while.
Okay. But after, I don't think that's the only thing I've seen him in with those movies. And just don't care.
Well, I mean,
yeah, he's not a good actor.
He's not relevant.
No, his wife's the breadwinner. So
yes,
probably. Yeah,
he's really Freddie Michelle Gellar.
I mean, Matthew Lillard is 10 times the actor he is.
Oh, but
yes, and a much nicer human being.
Yeah.
That's
but my thought is, Freddie Prinze ought to watch his mouth, because if he did get into a fight with Gina Carano, I'm pretty sure she'd whoop the shit out of him. I mean, he's about like what, 105, 115.
Oh, for Gina, it would be like flicking a booger. Just
pretty much. She'd pop him in the nose and then just take him down and just break his arm.
Well, I work for pro wrestling. Yeah, so what?
He did survive an attack by the Hulk in the Ultimates comics, though.
Ooh.
In the comics.
Oh my God, I have that issue. You're talking about the one that Mark Millar wrote?
Yeah, because
Freddie
the Hulk
Prinze
thinks,
Jr.
he thinks he's off with his girlfriend. So
yes, Betty, he's off with Freddie Prinze. Which I finally found the word, Grim, for describing Mark Millar's writing style. I finally found it. It took me a week to think of the word, and the word is sleazy.
Sleazy?
Sleazy.
Sleazy.
Can I find a real word?
Yes.
It's like a cross between schlock and sleazy?
Yes, he's very sleazy.
Or shitty and lazy?
No wonder I like him.
I'm sorry. I'll stick with Garth Ennis, but
Other Keith says Freddie seems like he is Team Kathleen versus George. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wants more work from Kathleen.
Please give me more work. I will tokenize anything.
I'm gonna be even though it's my show, I'm gonna give our other Keith a chance to pop in and weigh in on this one, because he's got a bit to say. So I'm gonna remove myself from chat temporarily and put a much better guy in place. So y'all hang in there.
Did the host just remove himself?
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Hey, Keith. Other Keith.
On the bench.
My Keith.
Hey.
What's going on, man?
Hello.
You know what? This has been an interesting week.
It was okay.
I have not seen a week like this in quite a while. On almost every major front that we've been talking about for the last 2 years, somebody's found a different way to shit themselves. And at this particular point, I really don't think Toby is attempting to truly get a job with Netflix. And if he is, he's doing it so he can F with someone that is looking to be eventually exclusive to Netflix. Who would that be? Oh, yeah. The main man himself, Zack Snyder. So between Toby wanting to go mess with Zack some more, Warner Brothers decided to basically, continue to mess with Henry Cavill. Kathleen and her people always do what they do, and Freddie doesn't help. This has been a banner week. And as I said before, this is pretty much showing everyone what the people that are running all this stuff really think about you. This is what they truly think of the fans. They really do not care about you. I've been saying that since the X-Men movies. Since I started finding out exactly what they think about everyone. They really never cared about the fans. And that has extended over pretty much into every studio.
Yeah. I think they're sad. Profit too.
It's a sad, sad fact. I was just talking about this with someone, and I said, look, here's something that you need to ask yourself. Do you believe that everything that has happened within the realm of comic book films would be different if Marvel Entertainment had not started making their own movies? You need to really think about that for a moment.
I think the superhero genre might be dead by now.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as prolific. It'd still be going on.
Yeah, we'd still get them, but it wouldn't be what it is.
It would not be what it is. Some people would like to say, yeah, it'd be different. It wouldn't exist. No, it would still exist. Because nothing that Warner Brothers has done has changed. They're still using the same formula that they were using for making movies, superhero or otherwise, that they were using before 2000.
They have no idea what they're doing with the DC properties.
But nobody does. Fox would still be... Basically, what happened with Fox had nothing to do with their superhero films. They'd still be out of business. The difference would be who would have bought them.
Right.
Okay? So jump over to Sony. Sony wouldn't be any different. The only real difference is you wouldn't have Spider-Man movies that people really liked. It'd still be a 50-50 type thing. And considering what they were planning on doing, chances are these films would not have made as much money because you would have had more of a crapshoot between movies. In other words, one movie would be good, the other one would be opposite of good. So, yeah, without the MCU basically allowed Hollywood to understand that this truly is a moneymaker and someone with vision. And when I say someone, I really do mean Kevin Feige and his team. To come along and actually be able to make a lot of money consistently. Okay? Prior to that, they never really thought about it. It wasn't really well thought of that way. It wasn't seen as something that could be a huge moneymaker. Yeah, it could make money, and yeah, it could move some product. But outside of that, because that's... Oh, go ahead.
No, finish up.
I was just going to say, but that's really the way that Hollywood has been seeing this stuff since the very beginning. Well, and that is not a change.
It's what he did. It's the interconnected universe that he created is what they all started to chase. They wanted to have the Universal Monsters universe. They wanted to have, everybody had to have a universe after that. Well, and they all failed miserably.
They wanted the universe, but they didn't want to work for it.
Well, exactly.
Walter Hamada's plan has nothing to do with attempting to do with what they did at Marvel Studios. It is a lazy plan. What it is you bring in J.J. Abrams and have J.J. do all the work. That's what his plan is. So this whole thing about we really love filmmakers. We want to honor and work with. That's everybody here in this room knows it's BS. It is complete BS. And given what happened with Joker, see, I used to be one of those people that thought about giving Walter Hamada a chance. But after what happened with Joker was a huge success. look up how much money Joker made and understand this. Do you know how much Warner Brothers made off of that? Next to nothing, because they had screwed up the deal.
Well, now they're rushing to make the sequel. They want to make Joker.
That's the reason why they want to make the sequel.
Yeah, to make the money this time.
To make the money that they didn't make off of a $1 billion film that ended up winning an Academy Award.
Yep. And it's going to backfire because they're not going to make the same money because
it's not going to be as good a film.
You can't.
Yeah, it's not.
That's a one-off.
And so basically, they're willing to burn down the entire house to get what they want. So basically, saying no to working more with Zack Snyder, Henry Cavill, or anybody else is more about petty jealousy and also just blatant laziness and stupidity than it is about wanting to make money.
Yeah, but it's all with the idea. They think, because it's the hubris, right? They think they know what's going to make the money.
No, they hope. They hope. The reason why they had JJ is because to them, to people that work above, they see the money that he's generated. That's the thing that they see. All this other stuff is stuff that they can kind of play off circumstances or bad fans. That's how they choose to look at it. And in the case of Warner Brothers and Walter Hamada, especially Hamada, he needs JJ to be the man because he doesn't have the capacity to do what Kevin Feige and his team does. He doesn't understand it. And that's what I've been saying. None of these people have an understanding.
No,
of what makes
no respect for the source material, and the problem starts right there.
Well, actually, you don't have to actually quote unquote respect it.
But Kevin Feige did. Like Kevin Feige understands.
Yeah. But Kevin Feige is a unicorn. He is a unicorn. What you have here is the understanding that people like Alan Horn does not understand any of this. But you know what he does understand? How to make money. That's what you need. You don't need to have anybody's respect. In Hollywood, the way the business actually has been working, they respect once you make the money. They respect the cash. They respect even all the awards you get.
Yeah.
If you're going to be someone that's going to wait for respect, you're going to be out there quite a while, standing on the street corner. You know, the reality is, even Kevin Feige, he could see what was going on when he was working for Fox. They're all about loving you as long as you're bringing in the money.
He learned from their mistakes. Working under him. Yeah, that's something you and I've talked about over the last 2 years. But hey, guys, I'm going to step back so T-shirt can come back up here. My partner in crime here, he can take over for me. He's got more to say on some of these subjects than I do. The only thing I want to mention is that at the end of this, I made a little video to go with talking about somebody we lost this week, and somebody that I liked back in the 80s.
I know who it is.
Yeah. So Keith.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. White Keith.
Oh, yes.
I did that on purpose. I'm sorry. I'm such an asshole.
Shouldn't White Keith be called Quiche?
Quiche. Fucking great, Grim.
Thanks, Grim.
So
that's gonna stick now.
Yeah, I'm going to start calling you Quiche from this point forward.
Oh boy,
and it'll be fun. You'll like it. You watch. You'll just love it. You'll just go. I'm so glad Grim said that. So
you'll still get Quiche in the mail. It'll be great.
Oh yeah, and Keith, Black Keith, we have to eat quiche on the show just for quiche.
Yeah, I can't. I got to tell you, that's one of the other secrets about me. I can't handle quiche.
It's just fucking bacon and eggs in a pie shell.
Okay, another secret about me, I can't handle eggs.
Did you say eggs or legs?
Okay. I can't handle eggs. I don't do them scrambled. I can't do it. It is. It's
I had
very
no
bad.
idea. I had no idea all these years I've known you that you're a specious, that you don't like chickens.
I didn't say I didn't like chickens. I didn't say that.
I just won't eat their byproducts.
I cannot handle scrambled eggs. Anything that has a literal scrambled egg on it, can't handle it. Can't eat it. My body will not take it.
Guess what I made this morning?
Yeah, you see, if somebody had said I got breakfast and it was a mountain of scrambled eggs, it's like, well, looks like
yeah, I won't eat scrambled eggs. I won't eat.
I will have coffee.
Deanna didn't know that because she was like making me scrambled eggs all the time, or fully cooked eggs, and I just ate them because I'm polite. And one day last week, she's like, I ordered at a restaurant. I got, it's called overlike. So I was a cook for years. It's just, you flip the egg and then you put it right on the plate. You flip it, sear it, and over easy is the common one. I like overlight, where you just sear it and then bam, throw it right on the plate. And I ordered that and I said, does the cook know how to do it? And Deanna has this look at, you like the yolks? Like wet? And I'm like, well, I never heard it said that way, but yes, that's what I like. But I'm glad you didn't say moist. And she was just like, her mind was blown. And it's like, yeah, I fucking love eggs. And poached is like one of my favorite things. I used to eat it that way in England. And but yeah, that's sad to hear that, Keith. All these years I've known you, I've collected all these eggs that I wanted to give you, and now I can't give them to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
They smell bad too, but I'm
sure they do. Hey, look, you know what? If you've got a rotten egg you want to send me, you go ahead and send it to my good.
Well, I know where you
Walter.
live, so I can just leave it at your doorstep.
Well, you can do that, but you can also send it to my good friend and surrogate Walter Amata, and he'll know exactly what to do with them.
Fuck him and Toby Emmerich, which it looks like they're going to fire him. Let's see.
I don't think he's being fired. I think he's going to get out with a nice.
You think
I think he's contracted. Yeah, I think he's leaving to leave. I think he's leaving before he actually does get fired. I'm thinking that's what's happening. Look, AT&T walked in and you saw what the first thing they did. You notice how everybody carried the news. First thing they did was start devastating DC Comics. Not because there was anything truly wrong with DC. It's because everybody in Hollywood, every executive, they do not understand comic books. So it's easy to decimate comics.
Yeah, they don't understand the attraction. They don't understand the fan base. But I'm going to fuck off now so T-shirt can get out here.
Okay.
So I will, Ash, Kate, Grim, Keith, and Quiche. Love you guys. I'll talk to you a little bit later.
See you
later, brother.
See you, Gerry. Have a good one.
Here's the other secret, though, about this. Mm-hmm. Do you know what Disney did when they took over Marvel?
All new, all different Marvel.
I'm speechless with anticipation.
Well, they did the exact same thing. It just didn't get carried in the news. They went on a spree at Marvel Comics, and there were a lot of people that left. That's the reason why you had a lot of people suddenly and mysteriously start joining DC Comics.
Well, that's when they brought in Axel Alonso too, and that's when the all different started.
This is look. The biggest difference between Disney and everybody else is that Disney does not put out press releases to announce every major thing that they're doing. Hey, we're about to walk into this room and fire everybody. Fire for press release. That's what every other studio does.
Well, didn't they lay off the 38,000 park workers by email, and they wanted to keep that out of the news? And
yeah, they wanted to look. Yeah. Every time they do something like that, you don't get that unless somebody decides to report on it independently. Warner Brothers put out a press release about everything they were doing. Fox put out a press release because, hey, we're getting rid of everybody because we're selling, off a bunch of stuff. Paramount does it. Universal does it. Everybody does except Disney. Disney keeps all the really bad stuff on the down low. So unless you know somebody that actually works for them, you're never going to hear about it.
Right.
Nah. And speaking of bad stuff, hang on. We've got lots more to cover, Keith. We can't stay on this. Okay. All right, man. And Gerry, you better not be running off. I know you can hear me back there. Because yes, we're definitely going to dedicate that last little segment to the person you built the video for, and definitely you have a higher stake in that one than I do. Although I have to admit, I will miss that mental image because I was alive in the 80s too. But anyway,
you miss a mental image. You still have it, you dork.
Oh, that's true.
It's a mental image.
It's a mental image.
And I've had that fucking song stuck in my head all day now.
Yeah, and I did notice that too. Grimm's neon light show. I noticed you changed your background because originally you were doing the dungeon thing, and now it's the neon thing. Is that in honor of my show or my opening?
I try not to leave the same background on to live streams that I go. So
okay, well, fair enough. All right, so our next hot topic of discussion.
Oh my freaking God.
I knew Keith was waiting for this one.
Oh.
Okay, yes. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Captain America, they're introducing 4 new regional Captain Americas, and they've already introduced 2 of them. One of which was an LGBTQ plus railways resistance fighter type person. The other was a woman. I'm basically a hobo. And the other was a woman who I honestly don't know anything about. I didn't read anything about it. But this one in particular interested me. This is supposed to be, Captain Native America, or he's a Kickapoo Indian.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask, is this part of the main continuity, or is this like an Elseworld story?
No, this is part of the main.
This is 611, man. This is or 616. This is
This is happening. This is a real thing.
You need to say Native American, otherwise Ash is going to get confused.
Oh, precious!
Oh, I just now got that.
You just don't have...
Yeah.
Just thinking of you, Ash.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
So yeah, I lovingly call this guy Captain Kickapoo. And the Kickapoo Indians, they have 3 major tribal groups here in the United States, including Texas, where they've got at least like an almost 1,000 strong reservation over in Eagle Pass, and they're very active down there. In
Missouri,
and Missouri too, yeah.
Which is where Gerry and I are, and it's the name of the high school that a certain actor that everybody knows from this area went to. So,
and there's also the Oklahoma. Of course, Oklahoma has a huge confederation of Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one in Kansas as well.
I think the thing with the Kickapoo, right, is that they were the only one. They resisted becoming American citizens, and they went to Mexico. Like they took the tribe to Mexico, right?
I believe so.
So
it was during
wear the colors of the flag is like antithetical to everything they stood for.
Yeah, that's kind of problematic to me too.
Not to mention, I mean, just any tribe, because I mean,
they do have
colonists come over here and took their land, and yeah.
I just find it funny when everyone wants to act like Native Americans are normal savages, like they didn't fight each other. They totally did. They're humans. Stop acting like they're not humans. And it's weird when they're like, well, people treat them as if they're all the same to me. It's like, no, this is a huge continent. The coasts are not the same.
Very true.
But I guess 2 Native American guys created this, and I can't believe
they're ignorant. Yeah. I can.
Well, it is what it is.
It's a way of getting ahead. Look. The fact that this is coming out this week, again, like I said, the fact that this is coming out, we've had a banner week. Okay, I mean, they've decided to move forward with the Black Clark Kent.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Kal-El. It's actually Kal-El. Yeah.
They're gonna move forward with that rather than going with either of the 2 versions that were actually in the comics. Jesus. I mean, who knows? and everybody's surprised because the actor that everybody thought would accept the role somehow backed off of it, mainly because I think everybody forgot what happened at the DC Fandom last year. Which is when they had announced that when they had announced that Milestone was coming back.
Yep.
And they had announced that there was someone in charge of Milestone. Guess what actor was announced with that?
Yep. I remember.
Yep. So the fact that, you know, JJ and his people and Ta-Nehisi Coates decided, hey, we're gonna get Michael B. Jordan. And notice what Michael B. Jordan said as soon as that news first came out. Who did he mention? Calvin Ellis. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna play Calvin Ellis.
He did. He said to leave Kal-El alone. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. There's a reason for that. And so he mentioned Calvin Ellis because, hey, guess what? He actually reads the comics.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the equivalent of, hey, let's just go ahead and have a Black Peter Parker.
All right. Well, Keith totally derailed my my segment here because I was planning on moving into.
Look. Let me at least say this about Captain America. I'm sorry. Let me at least say this about Captain America. Mm-hmm. The intent of what they were intending to do with this, I can see being really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Batman already did it, and they've already had fanfare about this forever, and it doesn't land because there just aren't enough. They're not Mantle characters. They're not Green Lanterns. That's a Mantle character.
And they're not Batman.
Yeah,
because they kind of did this with Batman too. This is Captain America's version of going where they did with Batman. Batman Incorporated. This is Captain America Incorporated.
Yep.
And it's just like it doesn't land.
It doesn't in a book in a convention setting where everyone's just having fun. Sure, it's fun, but in a book it doesn't make sense because there's just too much going on, and you're making it too soapy in a way that isn't pleasant. It doesn't work.
This design is incredibly awful. On every level. I mean,
it looks like it was made in the 70s, and they're trying to make it look like it's vintage.
Are you saying these are Village People?
It's just so.
The Village People have better taste than this.
Oh,
when I say they're trying to make it look vintage, I mean like how they have things placed around the drawing.
Just the practicality. He's going to fight in moccasins with all this crap, all this regalia all over. Like, it's just, I hate to say it, but it's tokenism. I mean, look at this. Yes. It's absolute, this is a cliche cartoon of how they perceive Native Americans. I mean,
what if they passed the mantle on to one of their pre-existing Native American superhero characters?
Like Warpath or something? Right.
Like Thunderhawk or...
Warpath or right.
Well, you wouldn't even have to go that far.
What is with those?
What about
you could take
what about Wyatt Wingfoot?
But you could also take a character, a brand new character that happens to be Native American with a military background, and just basically make him someone that is in the spirit of Captain America, but more modern.
Yeah.
And more focused on their abilities and skills, being someone in the military, and just call them the Protector, and go from there.
But that's too creative for these people.
I'm sorry. I went to.
This is substandard Marvel level art too. This is just not good.
You mean after everything they did with Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, who's David Cutler? I don't think I've ever seen a book by David Cutler. Who's that?
I can understand them wanting to honor the Kickapoo garb, the ceremonial garb, because that's really what this looks like to me, is like ceremonial garb, something they would wear at a ghost dance or something.
But not.
But you have to scale it back. You have to scale it back so it is, practical.
Yeah, you don't want to fight in this shit. I mean, look at all the tassels and crap you're going to get caught up in.
None of the stuff they've come up with, and none of these characters has any super soldier serum or superpowers. So basically, whatever you bring to the table is what you got. Huh. That also sounds like Batman Incorporated. But it's just, this is all just, this is going to easily be wiped away. And I'm telling you right now, as soon as they decide who is going to be in full control of DC Comics, which again, I hope it's Robert Kirkman. Disney's going to turn around and do the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
And whoever buys the rights to make Marvel Comics, I think is going to sweep a lot of this stuff away, depending on who it is.
These books have hit such low sales numbers that I was at my comic shop today, and he told me the independent stuff, including some local creators stuff, is outselling Marvel and DC at his store.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm telling you.
The quote I love about this is I forget who does the interview, but it's bad. But she says, "I know lots of people like Joe because the guy's name is Joe Gomez. That's the name of the character." Yeah. So it says, "I know lots of people like Joe. Many of them my indigenous relatives. So it was wonderful to help develop a character with his values, strength, and extreme crane operating skills."
What?
Yes. That's
his superpower.
No,
Darcy Little Badger. That's her name.
I am not kidding.
Darcy Little Badger.
Serious that went there with that? I mean,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Darcy Little Badger. That is who gave that quote. She says something I love about Joe is his day job. It represents everything he stands for as a hero. See, Joe Gomez is a construction worker, a builder in a world plagued by destruction. Every time a spaceship crashes into a bridge or a supervillain transforms a whole city block into rubble, people like Joe make things whole again. Work like that may seem thankless, but Joe genuinely enjoys helping his community survive and thrive.
Wait.
You thought the Red Sonja redesign was bad.
Don't damage control already exists.
That's what.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Didn't they do damage control already?
You know, the person who was responsible for creating damage control just happened to be a black guy. So is damage control not good enough to have a character like this? I'm done. I'm done.
Hey, look at it this way. We're going to save a lot of money not buying these comics.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Zach. Yeah, I'm almost surprised too.
I'm telling you right now. I think after Robert Kirkman, after he buys DC, he should just turn around and just buy Marvel.
Yeah, buy them both.
Because he's going to do so much good with DC. DC's going to freaking blow up.
I hope so. I hope he does do that. I hope he does, because this is getting sad.
No, we passed sad 6 months ago.
Yeah, we're past sad.
After Snowflake and Safe Space, yeah, we drove right past, waving and smiling at sad. So
the Children of the Atom, and now these Captain America knockoffs, and
well, this phenomenon of lame characters isn't new though. There was Armadillo, Leapfrog, Stiltman.
But those were like joke characters mostly.
Well, it's not even necessarily that they're a joke, but they end up being one, and that's why people remember them. So it's like, we want to try this thing, and we're just going to do it anyway, and kind of squeeze it into a few panels. But
again,
I mean, you remember it because it was weird.
Again, this is not following any real formula for success. None of these people, either at DC or Marvel, are people that have any real experience working in comics.
That's the problem. They're hiring activists. That's what they're doing.
It's cheaper. In the case of DC, these were the people that were left standing around that were cheaper to keep. And look what happened. And wait a minute, did you actually think Marvel was not going to do the same thing? I mean, look, both of these companies have fallen off. We can all agree to that. Okay? No more of this DC versus Marvel. All you fanboys out there have to recognize that both companies have fallen off the cliff. Okay? So the only thing left is the sudden stop.
Yeah. Ash, do you have anything to add to this before I go to the next thing?
Not much, just a few things. Just that when I first saw the design that you had just up on the screen now, I thought it was like stupid, childish. Like it just wasn't done well at all. But the first one you put up, where you've got Native Cap with Steve Cap, I loved that look. I thought he was badass. He was commanding. He was like, I loved the way they did the tassels on the outfit. It was minimalist, not too overdone, and like the way they designed the hair coming down the shoulder. I thought that was pretty cool. But this I thought it was a really cool outfit, and the character was really well drawn.
Yeah.
However,
that's drawn by Dale Eaglesham, who is a Native American artist, been in the comics for a long time.
Yeah, it looks badass, but that's where my likeness stops for this character, because we've seen this time and time again. They're taking pre-existing characters and trying to retrofit them to different cultures to seem appealing to said culture. And personally, it doesn't work. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what a Native Cap would do, but if it was an Elseworld story, I'd be fine. But because this is main continuity, I don't like that idea at all.
Didn't the Cap in 1602 go native?
Yeah, he did. I remember that. Golly. Well,
it's I don't like the thought of a Native Cap, and it's like we said earlier. Can't remember who mentioned it, but it's like the Stars and Stripes, the wearing the American colors wouldn't seem fitting for a native to proudly wear those colors, given the history of everything that's happened. Some might have changed with the times. We don't know. Some people might feel differently and feel patriotic about it. There's always someone that's going to have a different opinion. But from the looks of it, by and large, the Stars and Stripes would go against native history.
Somebody made the analogy that would be like Anne Frank wearing a Nazi outfit.
Yeah. It would be something similar, akin to that.
This just goes to show that you have a bunch of people who are not really as creative as they'd like to think, really don't have the skills to be in the world of comics. And also, with all of this technology, the whole of the World Wide Web, all of the information that we have, and you have to basically do this when you could have chosen someone to basically choose as a basis for this character and go forward with that. If you're wanting to create something or someone, they could have used, say, Jim Thorpe as a basis and built a character around that particular person and created, because he was a physical specimen, for one thing. You could actually see him wearing Captain America's actual costume if you know anything about Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, he actually ran with someone else's shoes because he lost his, or they were stolen or something. But he was awesome.
Yeah, and I don't think you could have gotten away with giving him what they've given this character. You would have been more inclined to give him more modern clothes, but clothes that you could at least make so that it would give off or give more to the Native American heritage that he has. I mean, you don't have to go this far, because you also have to think about the practicality of drawing the costume in every single panel.
Oh, yeah, and like I said, for fighting it would have been ridiculous too.
It is, but you could still design something that would be appropriate. And again, it's just no attempt at really trying to be practical and, more importantly, telling good stories, which is really what all of this comes down to. You got a bunch of people that just DC and Marvel are filled with the equivalent of the same type of people who are writing Star Trek Discovery right now.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. It's just, they've done it before with Native American characters over and over in these books.
Well, it's like they don't know what to do with them.
Right.
But,
Well, these are people that don't read comics, so they don't understand the history. And as it turns out, they just have no real idea about history in general.
Oh no, that's for sure. And speaking of history, I'm gonna pop our other history guy back in here, Mr. Gerry. Ash, if you don't mind, I'm gonna put you in the back for a little bit because this next segment, this is way before your time, and I don't want you to be offended or anything. But
I'm deeply offended.
You'll be deeply offended, yes. But it's nothing personal, man.
No worries, yeah.
And after next week, I promise we won't have any problems with StreamYards. I'll have full StreamYard coverage. We'll be able to get like 9 guests in here, so we'll be able to fill this room with people with opinions. Yes. But anyway, here we go. Yeah. All right, so I brought Gerry back because this segment, this is very important to him on a personal level, and it's kind of like a happy memory from my childhood too. I had Gerry put this together.
It's not that important to me, but
okay. Well,
I'm not fucking weird.
Hoods of cars will never be the same again.
As some of you may know, the lovely Tawny Katane, she passed away recently, and she was kind of a I think her work speaks for itself. Swing, yes. She was an 80s girl. I ordered a copy of Gwendolyn in her honor, of course.
There are some really good titty shots in that film. I'll tell you that now.
I'm trying to be respectful, Gerry. God damn it.
No. Tawny Katane was she's fucking the lead singer and the founder of the band. So he got her in multiple videos. I have clips of her from both videos.
Yeah.
And she's in more.
What issues? Yeah.
Drugs. And she was a tad bit batshit crazy too.
She was the 80s version of Amber Heard in many respects. Because I'm serious.
Yeah.
She got in the news for beating up people. Men too. People
very
that she's
physical. She was very physical.
She dated an athlete before she was with David Coverdale, beat him up, and supposedly went a couple rounds with David Coverdale.
Damn.
And so she did not take anything off of nobody. Then again, I think in certain cases she also, started a few things. Now, I don't think she ever really produced on a bed the way that Amber Heard did, but I'm sure if things had gotten bad enough.
Zack, they were pretending to like white. No shit. What? There are like 2 fucking songs that were any good. I mean, come on. And they overplayed the shit out of them on the radio.
18 years old when I went to see that. I was
Is this the foot long? And then some.
I was a year into watching R-rated movies without my dad, and I go see this movie, and I'm like, "There's some shit going on," and I'm like, the dude that the chick stands up pissing in the toilet was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What is that?"
Look! After watching that movie, I was not one of those guys that said, I was one of those guys that thought I'd never get married, and after seeing that movie, I couldn't wait, because it's like the bachelor party's
Oh, were you fooled?
Well, I mean, that's what the doctor character, the dentist character, is all about. Is meant to.
Would you characterize this as a strawberry blonde, perhaps?
Into a bit.
He said, "Yes,
blonde." But anyway, I don't know if you want to keep me on, but I figure we should round this off. We hit our 2 hours.
Well, oh yeah, okay. So we've hit our quota, so now we can just tell everybody to fuck off. Is everybody having a good time? Does anybody want to stay longer?
If you want to go longer,
topics.
Go for it. I gotta go.
Okay, man. All right.
Take care of yourself, Gerry.
Of course, buddy, and you can let Escher back in here.
Okay, it's good seeing you, Gerry, and thank you for putting this clip together, man.
Hey, Gerry.
Oh, you bet. Bye, guys.
Bye bye. All right, let me turn that. There we go, and we'll put Esh back in. Esh, you were covering your eyes for that whole thing, right?
Bye, Gerry.
Good. Okay.
No. Why should I have?
I just didn't want your.
I'm
tender
old enough,
eyes.
okay? I'm not that young.
It's my show, Six. Thank you. I'm just, being nice to my guests. That's all. Trying to be a good host. Come on. All right. Let me see. We have so many other things that. We got to touch on. We got to touch base on this one because this one never fails to get a giggle. Hang on. Let me punch this one up. I'm having a lot less technical issues than last week. Have you noticed? Yeah. I even got that new intro put together. I did that myself. I feel awesome, dude. I'm almost a real person now.
Oh, you're a real person.
Oh no.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's time. It's Colt 45 time. I mean, it's Lando time.
One step closer to getting her out of everything. I'm telling you, if there was ever a sign of just I just need to not have a job anymore, Kathleen Kennedy and the Lucasfilm Story Group have done it again, proven why they should not be employed or at least in any way connected to Disney for the foreseeable future.
Did you by the way, did you see this comes hot on the heels of them taking Finn off another poster?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. They're not hiding it anymore.
We'll jump in there, guys.
And yeah.
we'll jump in there. But okay. The story is Marvel Comics and Star Wars claim Lando Calrissian is an LGBTQ plus character and will feature him on Star Wars Pride variant covers.
George Lucas was unavailable for comment.
Okay, so yeah.
Well, they already did this though. They pretty much they just decided since he fucks robots, then he's just gonna fuck everything.
Okay. Chant with me, everyone. Veil of the Force. Veil of the Force.
Yes.
Veil of the Force.
Can't happen.
Okay. Is there anybody on this panel who actually wouldn't fuck a robot if you had a chance? Come on now.
No thanks.
What kind of robot are we talking about?
You're talking.
That's the right answer, Grim.
We're talking like Terry 2000 or an original series Cylon or what we.
It's your choice, Grim. Probably something you wrote about for Machinations of the Space Princess. I have that book. I have that Fembots book. I damn well do.
So are we talking like a Jamie Summers kind of pseudo robot?
Sure.
Or are we talking about number 6? Or are we talking about
why not?
These animatronics coming a long way.
Yeah, they are. Now,
if we're talking Jamie Summers, then I'm down, because she's technically a robot, but not really. So if you know who Jamie Summers is, so I could tell a lot of you probably don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the reason why I used her name rather than calling her by her other name, the Bionic Woman.
Yes.
Now, if it's the Bionic Woman, I'm down. If we're going to classify her as a robot, yeah, sure.
She's a cyborg.
It depends which hand she jerked you off with.
Oh, you don't want the bionic hand.
No, you don't.
You tear it out by the roots there.
Yeah, I didn't know this was detachable. It's not.
Oh my god.
It wasn't until 5 seconds ago.
It's all right. We can rebuild your genitals better, stronger.
Oh my god, Grim! That reminds me so much. Okay, have you seen that Space Truckers film?
Yes.
This with Charles Dance, who's rebuilt himself into a cyborg, and at one point,
electric whack pulse.
Yes, he's about to get ready to go have sex. And he pulls this thing like it's like a lawnmower starter. I'm having some problems here.
Wow.
Oh my god. I fell out of my fucking chair. I was laughing hard.
You never watched Moral Oral?
Who?
Moral Oral.
No.
The main character's mom buys power tools. And as the show progresses, she gets a jackhammer.
I don't even know how she could No, I don't. I want to think about it.
Yeah, it was on Adult Swim.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a lot of Adult Swim shows. The one about the dog is my favorite because I found out who voices the mom on that show.
Oh,
Ooh, jeez. Let's just say the entire vocal cast for that show is just weird. For all their shows is weird. It's oh my goodness. Oh jeez. Yeah, I had forgotten about the mom on Moral Oral buying all of the. Oh jeez.
Yeah, no, that show was great. I love that show.
Oh yeah. But it's like, oh my gosh, because I grew up watching the show that it's making fun of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's described as Davy and Goliath meets South Park.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
A lot of Beaver Cleaver's humor, but different. And then the local piercer / tattoo artist is the only real adult.
Yeah.
So and the best part is when she has like, maternal feelings, shoots herself in the ear with a piercing cut. That's better. It's so good.
I just put a link to it in the private chat. So
let me find it. I really wanted to bring up Robot Head's pansexual land video for this, but I thought.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's on HBO Max. Okay, so I can watch it all. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's the the show I was talking about was Mr. Pickles.
I don't remember that one.
Mr. Pickles.
I totally checked out probably 06, 07. And the only things I watched then were Metalocalypse and Venture Brothers.
Oh, I love Metalocalypse.
Trust me, Mr. Pickles will it's wrong, but then you find out who some of the vocal cast are, and it becomes really wrong. The mom, who is very oblivious, even though she gets away with saying a lot of stuff, that's Brooke Shields.
Oh, wow.
And I guess Frisky Dingo was the last unique thing that I watched on that.
I love Frisky Dingo.
I know. It was so good. And no one believes me when I say that Archer wouldn't exist without that. Dude, it's fucking Archer.
Yeah,
it's totally Archer. It's just a superhero genre. Yeah.
Harley Quinn on HBO Max is pretty much like that kind of humor, except it's just set within the Batman universe. And it's wrong. A lot of it is so wrong. Mr. Mind versus Wonder Woman. The pilot episode, what he says, one of the funniest things. I dropped my soda watching that scene. So
I dropped my soda.
And look, if you've never seen the animated Harley Quinn series, you need to check it out as soon as possible. Yeah. What Mr. Mind said to Wonder Woman. They even had to bleep it out. And it was still funny when you see everybody's faces, including Wonder Woman.
Yes. No, I know. Now I remember what you're talking about. And I really listened to that, and it's like, that is, no, not for me. No, dog.
All right. Ash, do you have anything to contribute to this?
Well, apart from just making loads of sex robot jokes about Lando, I'm not too sure what Disney are exactly doing with Lando. Are they just trying to, apart from the LGBT thing, are they just doing something else with him, or just?
It's not. Well, here's the thing. It's not Disney. It's Lucasfilm, and it's Kathleen Kennedy and her good buddies on the Lucasfilm Story Group. Well, they're basically, look, the writing is on the wall. If you're going to believe the rumors that she is now closer to getting booted out of her job, which means that everybody at the Lucasfilm Story Group realizes that their days are numbered too. Because if a certain person gets in, let's say, let me pick a name out of the hat, Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau is going to make their lives a living hell, because everything that they put him through and then some. So he's just going to turn up the heat on everybody. So anybody that's a KK fan, I'm looking right at you, Freddie Prinze Jr. Your lives are going to get bad real quick. My advice to you is to just go ahead and leave right now.
This might actually be a genius move, because this way they get to include LGBTQ plus with a sexuality that doesn't even really exist yet, and the Chinese can't kick up a stink because they make most of the sex dolls and robots.
Technology almost.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to say?
Designed by Japan, made by China.
I'm sure things will be nice and normal and cool for maybe a couple months, but once the Veil of the Force gets used and it's looking more and more like they're going to use it, a lot of this stuff goes away. Now remember, a lot of people keep saying that they're going to remake the 3 Disney films.
No,
they're not going to do that. No, they won't.
No way.
But with the Veil of the Force, you won't have to.
Yeah,
So-
just be non-canon.
It'll just all be non-canon. It'll instantly go into the. It'll be decanonized and shoved off to the side, and you'll never ever have to worry about it again.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill, if he still wants to, will probably be able to come back, and they'll just film some movies and stuff, and completely just overwrite everything that they had in those movies.
It would be nice. Harrison Ford will be the trick, though. He doesn't want to come back.
No, he doesn't want to
my,
come back at all.
here's my issue with the Veil of the Force. If they do that, and then they go into the Veil and kill Palpatine before Palpatine gets to leaves the second Death Star, and before he goes to Exegol and all that. What happens to the Mandalorian show? What happens to the Rebels TV show? What happens to the video game Jedi Fallen Order?
Oh! I can tell you exactly what happens. Mandalorian. That was created by Jon Favreau. If Jon Favreau is leading this, Mandalorian will survive.
Hey,
So they're going to have the
that's simple.
Favreau Filoniverse, essentially.
guys, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. Kate has to head out.
Oh,
So let me, Kate, if you'll post up links to your YouTube so I can put them in the chat. And what? Did I say
I
something?
can do it. I can put them in the chat. I think I am a mod. That's
Yeah.
all.
That's true. Yeah, you're my wrench.
Yeah. So here's my empty this account, and then I'll show you my other one in a minute. So switch.
All right. Well,
I'm sorry, I didn't expect you to actually like, hey, share stuff. I was just gonna, yeah, no worries.
Okay. Well, it was great having you on.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
No problem. You definitely you brought some really interesting talked about redheads on the chat. I loved it, man. It was
well. I mean, I am one.
I know.
I'm very. It's not the kind of experience people think it is. So everyone acts like everyone loves us, and they don't.
And I actually never knew about it until you had mentioned it. So
Yeah, no, that's my life, dude. That's those things really happened, and that's why I'm a quote unquote supremacist, because being 2% of the world sucks, man.
I have a really good
Kate,
friend growing up.
we
who
love having you.
went through
Kate,
that.
I'm down with you. So
I
Yeah,
know.
me too.
you're all kinds of all right with me.
You got fans with us. So
Thank
Absolutely.
you. And also my business channel. That's the other one. I'm not putting in the words, but that I have videos on, and you can see what I do to make monies. And you can send me all the monies.
yeah.
Anyway,
and
thank you very
Bridie's-
much. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Always great to see you,
All
Kate.
right.
You too.
Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care of yourself.
Yep. Bye.
Bye bye. All right. Zach says the Mandalorian would be untouched.
Yeah, The Mandalorian, all the spin-off shows will be fine. Those are Favreau entities.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes no sense for him to take over Lucasfilm and then suddenly get rid of all the stuff that he had planned to do. You know?
And if we're going to touch on this real quick, Okay, so Bad Batch came on this week. I have not seen it. I really don't have any desire to see it because I really don't want to watch animated Star Wars. It's just not my thing. Because it's computer animation and it looks garbagey.
Unless they brought Gendy back. Then I'd watch it.
Yeah. But, from what I'm hearing from Stig Kenobi is, everybody's like, oh, Dave Filoni's going to save everything. And Stig Kenobi's like, fuck you, he is. He's already fucked up the canon and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He gave a backstory for Kanan Jarrus, who was the original, he's like the main Jedi mentor in Rebels. And then he immediately retconned it in the Bad Batch. So he's already screwing canon. But what are you gonna do? There's not much we can do as fans apart from like sit back and watch. Because yes, we can kick up a storm, but at the end of the day, how much would we want bad blood with them? Because at the end of the day, there are like Filoni and Favreau are last hopes of good Star Wars at the moment. I mean, I don't think there's any other major figureheads that we could entrust Star Wars to, except George Lucas, but he's never going to come back. We could probably do consultancy work, but that's it. He's got his billions. Like, there's no need for him to come back to Star Wars.
Actually, at the rate things are going, he could probably buy the damn franchise back for a lot less than what he was paid for it. So
yeah, and then hire the right people to run it this time.
Yeah. Actually, Grim, I've never actually heard your opinions on Star Wars. I mean, what's your take on it? Not bad, huh?
I don't know. It's kind of like Doctor Who in that it's been increasingly tarnished by what people have been doing to it. So, I mean, they say you can't take away the old series, you can't take away your memories and so on, but they can be tarnished and fucked over. I think, like we were talking earlier about the success of the MCU, and I think Quiche brought up that they were respectful of the material, which I think that's very true. I think that's what allowed superhero movies to finally break out and be taken seriously, more than the shared universe and everything. So if you think about Blade or the first couple of X-Men movies, maybe they were, at least in comparison to what had come before, they were a lot more respectful of the material.
Oh yeah.
And didn't fuck with it. It felt like the studios weren't interfering so much. And with Star Wars, you got the original trilogy, you got the prequels, which weren't good, but in retrospect seem a lot better when you rewatch them.
I have a new appreciation for them now.
Yes.
But then these new sequels and Kathleen Kennedy around, they just don't seem to have that respect for the material. And it's only by the tiniest of margins of professionalism, I think, that Mark Hamill hasn't torn them all apart on stage at some point. He's come close, but then you look at Mandalorian and the Rebels series. That is respectful of the canon and the material, and it tells Star Wars stories, which were massively influenced by Joseph Campbell, who I don't actually rate that much as a fiction analyst, but it goes back to the archetypes. These are really kind of mythopoetic stories, is how they were originally, and this latest batch of sequels just doesn't have any of that. It makes the mistake of deconstructing myth, and myth doesn't work anymore if you deconstruct it and you ditch the archetypes. It's Star Wars worked because George Lucas was a fan of old serials and pulps and things and samurai movies, and he just mixed it all together and it turned out into something new. Maybe if they'd approached the sequels with their own influences and mixed those together, that would have worked. But just the lack of respect for the material, the lack of respect for the fans, for the actors, everything it's just tarnished it all. And I don't think a Veil of the Force thing is likely to happen. It's such a it's Crisis on Infinite Earths level of crudity as a way of doing it. I think they might just move on or go on into a historical era, which it looks like they're doing with the High Republic. So that looks iffy to me. So
that's if they're allowed to stay, though. I mean, if Kathleen Kennedy goes, everyone at the Lucasfilm Story Group knows that their time there is short. They're not going to get immediately fired, but it's going to come down to now you're going to have someone running everything who you know is not going to greenlight your bad ideas. You've already proven that you cannot work with this material. So what really use are you to him? You know, he's going to find a way of basically getting rid of you guys one way or another unless you can prove to him that you are ready to tell stories in the vein that he would like to tell, and that is definitely in keeping with what George Lucas has started. Kathleen Kennedy has proven that she does not respect this material, but at the same time, she's also proven that she is incapable of being any type of creative. She's not a creative person. She's one of the best producers in the history of Hollywood. I have never really argued that fact. She's that good. She's earned it. But she is incapable of coming up with anything.
So what was the name of that lady who made the two Wonder Woman movies? I forgot her name.
Patty Jenkins.
Okay, so what I'm saying is a dream project is we get Kathleen Kennedy to produce a Jenkins film and see what happens.
Well, technically that's already happened.
That's going to happen.
Exactly what. Yeah, Patty Jenkins signed up to make a Star Wars movie.
No!
Fighter pilot.
You didn't hear about that?
Yeah,
you didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah,
that was weeks ago.
They announced that in December at the investors.
Yeah. At the investors meeting. Yeah.
Oh no.
But here's the thing. I said this 2 years ago, that the best thing she can do is break off, take all of her Lucasfilm Story Group people with her, and start her own studio. She has made enough contacts. She has made enough movies, won enough awards that she could get away with actually starting her own studio and probably start out putting out the kind of stuff that she'd like to put out and get awards for it.
But like you just said, they're not creative, and unless they're hijacking an existing IP that's already got a built-in audience, how are they going to do that?
Well, that's
brand new that's going to suck.
No. They are not equipped to deal with highly creative stories in the vein of Star Wars.
No, they're not.
Because they don't look. Every single person in that story group is not someone that has proven themselves, first of all, to be running anything like that. Second of all, they're being led by someone who being creative is not in her wheelhouse. She has everything else necessary to be successful except that. A lot of the people that were hired in her story group are people that are used to writing different types of things outside of really anything as highly as imaginative as Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. All that stuff is outside of their purview.
Well, right, but they've got the brand recognition. That's why they don't have to worry about that, because they think they can write whatever garbage they come up with and stamp Star Wars on it.
But that's the thing. They are now going to find them. Look, again, she leaves, Favreau comes in. What are you going to do? The best thing she can do, Kathleen Kennedy, is to start her own studio and call in all the favors that she's owed. Starting with Rian Johnson, who owes her big, because the Lucasfilm Story Group were the ones that actually wrote The Last Jedi. All he did was take notes. So if they think that that's really something that they want to do and be quote unquote more creative, fine. First thing she should do is hire Rian Johnson to just take one of his stories and they should make a movie. She should run it through her studio. They should run it through their story group and have Rian Johnson go off and make stuff. If they truly think that they're all that in a bag of chips, they should be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, before Grim runs out of gas, I do want to throw this one article up here to kind of segue into another topic real quick, guys. We can always return to the Star Wars because that's got a lot of mileage on it.
Star Wars never fails to entertain us.
That's true. It's got a lot of mileage.
For the Star Wars part of it.
No, for sure.
I will probably have to go after this.
I understand. No, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I definitely wanted to bring this one up before you ran off because
just the chick from one of the Wallace and Gromit films.
Oh God, no. No, this is Sarah Paulson, and the show that she's been a part of is like the American Horror Story series, and her latest bit of controversy is that she plays Linda Tripp on American Crime Story Impeachment, and the deal is Linda Tripp is overweight, which many of us Americans are. That's just kind of how it is. But to play the part, she had to wear a fat suit, and in so doing, she apparently brought down the ire of various people. I mean, the comments are all like, so let me get this straight. Fat people don't get acting jobs because they don't physically fit the part, but skinny people who don't fit the part are given accommodations. Or, fat suits are dehumanizing. All these
fat culture.
Yeah, appropriating fat culture, basically.
She's a trans fat.
Yeah, she's a trans fat. And Grim wins the night. The comment of the night.
Grim, you got it, dude. You got that one.
Well, and the deal is, here's the funny thing: is like, okay, Paulson is she went after J.K. Rowling a few years back for saying that sex is real and all this sort of thing. I don't really have any comment on that, but because of this, she's been attacked by the mob twice. Once for refusing to post her pronouns, and now for playing a big woman. And the deal is, they're saying, you can't pay insurance to the woke and expect protection because they eat their own. And I've been saying this for a long time now. It's like, the woke, they'll turn on each other just as fast as they'll turn on everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, look at I forgot her name now. The girl that plays Shuri on the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
They're going, oh, Shuri should be the new Black Panther, woman power, strong woman, this, that, and the other thing. And then she says, I don't want to get the vaccine. I'm a little worried about it. Burn the witch, burn the heretic. They just tore her apart. They want her fired. They want her taken out of there. So yes, we've seen it time and again that unless it fits the moment, you're out. Doesn't matter who you are or what you are.
Yep. It's unfortunate, and let me at least just say this. I have enjoyed Miss Paulson in a lot of the roles. I really loved her in her really brief scene in Serenity, brief but pivotal scene in Serenity. But you can't play with a lot of these people and be a part of what they want to do and then turn around and say something different. You can't do that. It is all of this stuff is just, it's dumb. That's the best way I can put it. It's just dumb.
It is.
Grim, what do you have to say about this?
I'm just thinking on the practicality side, right? So, of course, thin people are going to get fat parts because you can put them in a fat suit, or they can bulk up for the part, or whatever. Yeah, that's easy. But they're wanting fat representation. But then if you wanted someone, like, you couldn't cast Kevin James as Captain America, right?
Right.
Without him having to no longer be a chunky fella.
Right.
Right. He'd have to diet. He'd have to go through a fitness regimen. So you wouldn't get your fat representation even if you did cast him, because he would have to be thin for the part. So it's easier. It's easier to make people fat for the part, in various ways than it is to cast someone fat and thin them down, I think. So there's just there's just a practicality there, I think.
Yeah. And Chris Pratt was really chunky before he had to get in shape to play Star-Lord. Now he's like ripped.
Yeah.
But,
he's a good example of that. And not many actors want to do what Christian Bale or Robert De Niro do, and like just mess up their bodies, getting all fat and then losing the weight and getting fat. So
the era of those kinds of actors is over.
I agree. The era of the movie star in general is over.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because one of these people is commenting about it and it says, it's very transformative. It reminds me a lot of what Christian Bale did a couple of years ago, that sort of dedication. We talked a lot about how she has to keep it up for many, many months until it's done shooting, so it's hard. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You don't know how to be fat? Come on over to my place, man. I'll show you how to be fat. Come on. Come on, motherfucker. We will eat hamburgers. I will show you all the greasiest Chinese food you can eat.
I've had a really difficult time every time I've been to the States, right? Because like my grandparents grew up during the war and after it with rationing, and it's always a thing, clean your plate. And the portion sizes in the States are just insane.
Yeah. I'm the same, yeah.
And I hate to leave food, so I'm like, one more fry.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I mean, when you get chicken breasts that are bigger than like a human, like, that's insane. Like how'd that thing get so big?
Steroids.
Right.
One more thing on this though. I mean, did they give Martin Lawrence trouble over Big Mama's house?
No, of course not. Because guess why?
Because he was actually fat and it wasn't the suit.
No.
They
didn't give Eddie Murphy any. They didn't give Eddie Murphy any shit over the clumps either, for also the same reason they didn't give him. Can you guess what it is? What do those two actors have in common, Grim?
They both played those parts many years ago when this wasn't such a problem.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go.
There you go. That's it. That is it, because Martin Lawrence hasn't really done much of anything outside of really Bad Boys 3, which again, congratulations, guys. That movie really did. That movie did fantastic. But anyway, and
Martin Lawrence was pretty chunky in that. He put on some weight.
Yeah. Well,
Will Smith has put on weight now, according to photographs that he's posted. It happens.
Yep.
It happens.
I just feel sorry for Will Smith now.
Yeah. Which is,
I don't.
I'd like to have his millions.
I would look, his problems, some of the problems that have been reported, there's no substitute for basically self-damage. And some of those problems are self-damage. So I feel bad for him in the respect of in the fact that people have found out about his personal business, but only up to a point. You have access to anything that you want in this world, being his kind of famous. If you put yourself in a way and in a position to where bad stuff will happen, then bad stuff will happen. So I don't know.
And Zach brings up Thunder Force, which I can't bring myself to see, but I've seen plenty of reviews on it, and I'm just kind of like, even if somehow I did want to watch it just for some crazy reason, I don't know. Those ladies stuffed into those suits, there's just no. No. Assuming Jenny McCarthy was even funny, because she's not. I mean, I made the mistake of buying that puppet kill film show that she was in, and I was just like, this is terrible.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I had a different picture in my head when you said Jenny McCarthy. You mean Melissa McCarthy?
Oh, is that I'm sorry, Melissa McCarthy. Yeah. Too many McCarthys, damn it.
That film was okay for the scenes that she wasn't really in.
Yes, exactly. The cow scene in particular had me rolling. That was it. That was it. That was the one laugh I had in the whole film. The rest of it was just kind of like, I paid for this. I paid for this.
Anyway, I had better toddle off.
All right,
Grim.
my man. Okay, Grim, post up your YouTube stuff so we can note it up here in the chat.
Okay.
Or did you already?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Grim, you rock, man.
Yeah, it's great to see you again, man.
Well, I hope for this to be somewhat regular when I can do it. So,
Anytime you want to come on, you definitely got it. And yes, come the summertime, we're going to be doing some smaller panels with some more independent stuff that's going to focus solely on tabletop stuff for sure. And yes, the movie reviews too.
Yeah, you want to talk about clerics, don't you?
I do want to talk about clerics.
I'm gonna tune in for that, and be prepared for me to ask a lot of questions.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Right. Good night, all. Take care. See you soon.
Good night, Grim.
I see you, man.
See ya.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I've kind of got for the evening. Any of you guys have anything? Outside of hitting Star Wars hard and heavy?
Look, Star Wars is gonna go through some major changes between now and probably this December. But then again, you can say that about Warner Brothers. I think a lot of changes for Warner Brothers are coming. It's like that whole ticking time bomb type thing,
Who's gonna blink first?
You can see a lot of stuff happening. You can see a lot of these pieces. If you think of Hollywood like chess or a game that you can play, you can see a lot of pieces moving. I think everything's going to look real different a year from now.
I hope you're right.
I think now, whether or not that's going to change how certain films and television shows go, I can't tell you. I will say this: J.J. Abrams isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Nope.
No.
But I'm hoping
what he does, though, he removes himself. He starts something and then he bails.
Yeah, but he's not going to bail before the contract is up, because they paid him $500 million to be there.
Oh,
and when I say they, I mean the people that are currently showing themselves to be idiots right now. So everybody under Ann Sarnoff, everybody that is currently all Warner Brothers and have been there for a few years are the idiots. AT&T, they're taking their time. They're really trying to learn how all this stuff works so they can actually appropriately fire the right people. So that time is coming. But I don't celebrate people losing their jobs. I just think that when you get paid the kind of money that they do, you should know exactly how to entertain the public and yet still not affect profits.
You should be held to a higher standard of entertainment.
And when they're hostile to the fan base, when they're hostile to the paying customer,
yes,
and they deserve what they get.
Yes. Well, the first rule my dad taught me in business is never mess with the money. And way too many people in the last few years have violated that rule. Whether you're talking Alex Kurtzman, mess with the money. J.J. Abrams, mess with the money. Kathleen Kennedy, messed with the money. You can't do that and have any real sustainable career, especially in a place like Hollywood when you're dealing with corporations who are all about the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, the stockholders. And,
that's the thing. The only thing keeping Alex Kurtzman employed is that contract, that beautiful, sweet contract that Les Moonves gave him.
Yep.
Because if not for that, he'd be out on the street.
That was just a shot at Sherry Redstone on his way out.
True, and it has worked.
Yep.
It's worked to the point that CBS and Viacom had lost at one point 50% of its value.
Yeah, that's right. Like about a month ago, the stock was valued at about half. Right? That was back in March.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in March. So now Kathleen Kennedy, who again, she's sitting in the catbird seat. If I were her, given her limited ability to be able to create anything new, I would have found me somebody to just basically be the creative arm, and all I could do is just run the company. That's what she should have done.
They're not smart.
No, they're not.
They're drunk with power.
Yeah,
they're drunk with power. You know, I mean, they're hubris. It's all ego, arrogance, and they finally get Kathleen Kennedy finally got what she wanted. She's in charge.
Yes,
she's not answering to anybody except for Bob Chapek, and she's just
yeah. The moment you do stuff that starts affecting the guy that runs everything, that's when you should start probably looking for other employment. And again, this could have been a sweet deal for her if she just would have just kept her mouth and views to herself. That's really what it comes down to. Because now look at all this. If somebody had told me 5 years ago that BBC, CBS Viacom, Warner Brothers, Marvel, at least Marvel Comics, were all going to be just damaged goods, I would have said you were crazy. Crazy. And look where we are.
It's amazing.
By any stretch of the imagination, if Alex Kurtzman were to disappear tomorrow from CBS Viacom, I think Star Trek could be saved in a year. I really do believe that.
Bring Seth MacFarlane and everybody from the Orville over. That's Star Trek.
Well, if his contract will allow, because he's working for NBC,
right?
His contract probably wouldn't allow him to jump ship. But
Hulu now, Hulu's producing the third season of that, and Disney owns Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
So, creative paperwork. Creative accounting.
I will say this: if you're going to want to bring somebody in to fix or right the ship, there is one person who they could probably get who would almost jump at doing it. And I think this is the only thing he would probably consider doing it for. That'd be J. Michael Straczynski, the creator of Babylon 5.
JMS, yeah, it's a good choice.
He would do it. Now, he wouldn't do it for like 5 or 10 years. I think he'd do it. You could sign him to a contract for a year, 2 years. He'd fix it all.
Yeah.
And the same thing could be said for a lot of other things. Star Wars is not going to be that hard of a fix. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it's going to be that. It's you take everything that has been done, that Disney has done up to this point, since Disney has owned it, and with the exception of 1 or 2 things, just fold it all up and toss it to the side, because you can do that. It's that simple. I also believe that Doctor Who is an easy fix.
Sure, same thing. Just go back to Chris Chibnall.
Yeah,
pick it up where it was.
Pick it up where it was, or you could just write it to where you could just say the Master lied. You're done. Master lied. Right. And now we begin again, because look, I got nothing against Jodie Whittaker at all. I think she's a terrific. I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff that she did prior to becoming the Doctor, and it's not about the sex so much as it's about the scripts.
Right.
This has just been awful. This has just been awful to watch. It's cringy. So you could hire back all the same actors they've had on Doctor Who under Jodie. And if you get great people that can write great scripts, you can do amazing work. But I believe that for all of it, whether you're talking DC Comics, Marvel Comics. I mean, you invite in anybody that worked for DC Comics 10 years ago and get them back working for DC Comics, which I think Robert Kirkman might do. Sales will go through the roof. Same thing with Marvel. You bring back anybody that worked for Marvel Comics, well, anybody that worked for Marvel Comics 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say Jim Shooter, like he's old now.
Oh, yeah. You bring in anyone who could write that ship and put in and write some stories, and oh my goodness, and you will see some things. But the current crop of people, yeah, they're useless. But I'm not going to cry too much because a lot of them are authors and other people who never started out wanting to go into comics and only see it as a stepping stone to getting more things that they want, which is into movies and TV. That's really what all these people doing the comics right now for both DC and Marvel, that's really what they're aiming for. That's what they want. They want to get to movies and television. They care nothing for comics. Period.
No, that's why they write those 6-issue arcs, because that's a 2-hour movie. You drop a 6-issue arc on a guy's desk, he reads it, he understands it, greenlit.
Mm-hmm. So this is all about that. You know, and yes, there's a lot of messaging. A lot of people want to get a message out and they want to talk about the world, and you know, if they're not trying to write themselves into the plot of whatever, they have a message that they really want to put out. And that's fun. It's great to have messages. But there's a proper way to do that and still be entertaining.
That's it. I mean, there's been messages in all forms of entertainment forever. I mean, I grew up on Star Trek. Every episode had some kind of a message in it or a statement about current politics. But it wasn't so they weren't smacking you over the head with it. It wasn't so ham-fisted because it was done by creative people. These aren't creative people.
People who are actually had some sort of an affinity for what they were doing. You know,
who understood nuance. You know.
Oh, Rod Serling is the king.
There you go.
Of understanding it. In fact, he's the king of science fiction television, speculative television. Really.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in Hollywood and you have no idea who Rod Serling is, you should get the F out right now.
Yeah, I bet 75% of the people writing things right now have no idea who he is.
Probably not. Well, gang, let's see. It's almost 9 o'clock here, and I've really enjoyed the panel. I've had a lot of fun with you guys.
Thank you,
we've had a lot of really good discussion. Yeah, no problem, Keith.
Yeah, this is
Keith.
fun.
Yeah. Here we are with Keith and Keith.
Yeah, and like I said, next week, and Ash.
Thanks, Ash.
Next week, I'll have fully StreamYard capability, so we'll be able to have all our panelists on at once. The sad thing is I made a few boo-boos today. I thought Fat Steven was running a stream, so I didn't actually ask him to be here. And it was like, and later on, he's like, "Oh no, I would have been available." I'm like, "Oh well, fuck, I already asked all these other people." And then I didn't ask our Keith either for the same reason. And I was like, "Oh, so I'm okay." But don't worry, next week we'll have a nice big fat group, and you know we can go crazy with our weekly topics. Just so long as we keep the time slots kind of, because this week there was so much stuff. I mean, it's like I was going through all of it, I was like, oh my God, Gary, we there's no way this panel can touch all these rumors, because there's all these rumors and all this news that's happening, because there's so much has happened this week.
I looked at the landing page, the homepage at Bounding Into Comics last night while I was eating dinner, and I texted Edson from our show and said, Jesus Christ, this one page has a week's worth of shit on it. It's unbelievable what's going on this week.
Again, Henry Cavill. That to me, I will pick out as the story of the week. Henry Cavill unfriending, unfollowing DC. Look, it's one thing to unfollow Warner Brothers, but to unfollow DC Comics. This guy is a nerd from way back. He understands and reads comics. To get him to feel bad enough to unfollow DC Comics, you have done a job.
Yeah,
there.
There's pictures of him Wednesdays in the comic shops all the time. You know,
and it may not immediately lead to what many people are saying. It's easy to think that Henry Cavill could just pack up and go down the road to Disney, but I don't even think it's that easy. I'm telling you right now, it's his to lose as far as becoming James Bond. And Warner Brothers should realize they effed this badly, because this could have ended on really nice terms. He
makes a great Superman too. It's just, that's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, they never wanted him.
No,
They never wanted him, ever. They wanted someone else who was a little more malleable, who was going to sign anything put before him. And they wanted someone who was going to be a slave to what their wishes were and be on their beck and call.
Jeez, how dare you say slave? You're a black man.
Well, I can say other things. But Henry Cavill, they just happened to have an actor in that part whose career was taking off. How dare they think they can treat him like any 2-bit person and control him? I mean, he may very well become the next James Bond, and you're standing there thinking you're going to order him around. And on top of that, he's got The Rock as his friend, and his ex-wife's Rock's ex-wife is his manager. Oh, screw those guys.
Oh yeah, that guy's not going to have any problem getting any more material. But anyway, like I said, we're at the 5-minute mark. We need to go ahead and close out, I think. But if you guys will post up your links real quick so we can put them up in the channels.
I can do that.
Yeah, do that.
Get these typing fingers moving here.
Oh yeah, no problem. Hey, my mouth wasn't working earlier, but I had a caffeine injection. Now I'm
a horrible typist. I don't know why.
And Zach, thank you very much for being here tonight. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the rest of our guests out there. Thank you.
Great chat, man. It was.
I tried to pick some really fun panelists, and I usually do a pretty good job, I think. I mean, we got Ash, we got Grim. Those guys are just awesome.
Ash, Ash and Grim, both of you guys are phenomenal. I like your points of view, and I like the way you guys do things. I mean, I like you too, Keith. Or Keish. You're great too, buddy. But
other Keith.
I just T-shirt, you've done an incredible job putting together great panelists, and of course having Gerry was just Gerry and Kate, and I enjoy Gerry, but Kate's just too fun. Everybody that you had tonight was just spot on, and then I come in and muck the whole thing up.
No, stop it.
Stop it. You clearly had a lot to say, which is one of the reasons why I was willing to take a step back and let you get your say in, because it's like I could tell it's like, ooh, Keith's really champing at the bit. I know he's gonna have a lot of words about this.
How do you mess up having Henry Cavill if he is such a big fan of what? I mean, again, this comes from. You've got a bunch of people running Warner Brothers who do not read comics. And this is not to single them out, because if you think that the people at Fox read the X-Men comics, I got a bridge in Neverland to sell you. Okay?
Tom Roth has picked up a comic book.
None of these people, none of them read comics, even at Disney. And they're profiting big time. They do not read the comics. So don't for a moment think that these people really understand what years of comics readers have been looking at and what they're expecting. They have no earthly idea. It's just that Warner Brothers is so arrogant and so bad at it. It's got to be called up.
It does. And we're going to keep calling them out, man. I mean, because this shit's not over with. We're going to keep calling them out. We're going to keep letting people know. And, we're going to get our fucking movies and our geekdoms back. And starting next week, I'm going to make a small format change to the show. We're going to call it, instead of being called Saturday Night Live, I'm going to call it The Week in Geek. I think that sounds better.
Look at you, man. See?
Wow. 3 shows in, and he's already retconning everything.
2 shows in, yeah. 2 shows, and I'm retconning everything.
Yeah. Well, next week being the 3rd is my point.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, guys, consider yourselves to have a personal invitation for next week. If you can make it, great. Let me know during the week, and I'll pencil you in, and we will get some new logos and stuff together. And
thanks. And I'd just like to say that I'm glad you have a channel, because when you came on my show, you didn't have a channel. So
thank you. Well, I got to be honest. A lot of people in the community have shown me a lot of love here lately, and some of them have been critical of the stuff I have been posting on the channels. and not critical in an ugly way, but critical in a very positive way that motivated me. Because they're saying, "Hey, I want you to succeed. I want you to do good, but you need to do these things to get better." And that makes me feel good because I'm like, okay, this is not someone just coming in and just shitting all over me. This is somebody who has a vested interest in seeing me succeed. And the show's producer is a guy named Elton Killebrew. He is a personal friend of mine, and he is who I lovingly refer to as my Yondu. Which, if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you know what Yondu means to Star-Lord.
He's Mary Poppins.
He's Mary Poppins, yeah.
He's Mary Poppins, yeah. No. Well, he's my Yondu.
And what's his name again?
Elton C. Killebrew.
Elton, thank you very much, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, you're a producer? Damn.
Well, I mean, this is why I gave him producer credit. Earlier this week, we're just talking and stuff, and he's watching my last cast and everything, and he's like, "Well, what are you needing to get to do now?" And I said, "Well, there's all these different stream services and things I need to get, and there's Vegas Pro and all these other things, and this stuff just costs so much money, and I just don't make that much." So he goes to the back for a minute. He comes back and he says, "Hey man, can you count this for me?" And I said, "Sure." Well, he handed me $400.
Good night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey Elton, remember I said you rock, man? I meant that.
So, my Yondu is on my side, and I have fans out there who want to see me succeed, and you guys want to see me succeed, and you guys in the community out there and on Twitter and on YouTube are all really wonderful people, and I love all your positivity, and I think, just as fans, we all do come together to make everything better for everybody. So I want to succeed.
Positive in the negative.
Yeah, just want to stay positive in the negative.
Yeah.
All right.
You
so
rock.
with that, well, thank you. All right. So I don't have an outro yet, so I'm just going to play the intro again. I hope you guys enjoy it. Keith, you haven't seen it yet, so
I saw the intro.
Yeah, you did. Well, other Keith.
Oh, other Keith.
Other Keith.
This is why we use Keith and Quiche.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or white Keith and black Keith,